To inspire, to uplift, different people share their gifts. A safe space and open door on a journey to explore human beings.
After years of dedicated efforts in mental health, it is time to spark a meaningful in-person discussion. Join me and several special guests for the Are You OK Summit on Saturday, February 1st, 2025. This year's summit features Michelle Primos, Gary Jones, Leanne Douglas-Trout, Anitra Green, Tamara Hudson, Emmanuel Magruder, and special musical guest, Anthony Dupree. Registration is officially open. Seize this opportunity to partake in this transformative experience. Make sure you register while you have a chance. We hope to see you there. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everybody. Yes.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to A Human Being, our season 2 mid-season finale.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Already.
Listen, I'm so excited to be here tonight. I tell you, there's so much to share. There's so many things to talk about. I mean, we have a jam-packed show for you tonight. I have special guests that are joining us. A few of our guests that are joining us tonight will be joining us at the summit this year. Yep. And we're going to talk about that. I am Dwayne Wiggins Jr., your host, along with my co-host, Ana Henderson. And we are excited to be here tonight. Tonight, we are rocking our A Human Beings.
Mm-hmm. Check it out.
Ana's rocking the hoodie. I'm rocking the sweatshirt. If you would like to purchase your hoodie, your sweatshirt, or any of those things, please make sure that you visit my website, or you can visit. I actually am about to post something on social media tonight that you can listen. So I am so excited, and so thank you all for joining us tonight. Ana, how are you feeling tonight?
Listen, I am pushing through, honey, okay? I think something Courtney, the little bug, the little cough, the little sneeze, but
it's really going around. Like there's a lot of things that are going around. So I
really is. And I know, I mean, I'm not gonna complain. I'm pretty sure it could be worse off, but I am feeling much better than what I was last week. So I am so excited to be here. I cannot believe tonight is the mid-season finale. How do we make it through that fast?
I don't know about you, but like I really think about when I approached you and doing this. I did the first few shows by myself in the first season.
Yes.
And then I approached you and I was really thinking about like how important it would be or how cool it would be to have someone to join me in this.
Yes.
And I think for me, like I could not have picked a better person. Like I am so thrilled that you said yes.
Thank you.
The feedback that I received for us about doing this show is just so amazing that so many people are like, you guys are so good together. I'm like, thank you.
You're like us.
I think what was really important and what's really cool is that how long we've known each other. Like we've known each other for a very long time. So it's one of those things to where when you have chemistry and you're able to work with someone, that it's just an amazing thing to say. I want to know.
This is natural.
I know. How have you been enjoying the show? Like, what's been your favorite show? How have you been enjoying this?
Oh my goodness, this has been such a great experience for me. I'm grateful. You're talking about, being grateful for me coming on. I'm grateful for this opportunity, just being able to see, a different side of social media, talking to people, being able to get topics across and having that interaction. That's something I'm not used to. Like, I'm an actress. Everybody that does know me, that I'm an actress. I'm outgoing. I dance, but having this space or this platform to be able to speak on things that I actually care about, that you care about, that other people care about is really important to me. So I'm grateful. I think one of my favorite shows definitely was the Power of Parenting.
Oh, nice. Okay. Why would you say that was one of your favorite shows?
Just because I feel like I can relate.
Yeah, I
feel like was the main reason for me. And just being able to, hear different statistics and different methods and, just all the information we received that night. It was a really, really good show. Like, I felt like I was ready to go upstairs and just talk to my kids like, listen, okay. You know, you give so much information. The people that you network with are always great, always giving great leads and information. So that's my one for sure. But of course, like game night and everything, even though some people was cheating. Christmas cup sitting right next to the table. You know, whatever. Well, you know, whatever. You know, but that would definitely be my next one. What about you? What about you?
Oh wow, there were so many. We had I mean, it was just a great season, like a kickoff to our season. I think when I think about a lot of our shows, what I really loved, I definitely love the One Love show because I'm a lover of love. So I love love, and I just loved like what that show meant to everybody.
Okay.
I loved our very first show of getting to know each other, like how we were able to let people into our lives to get to know us. And I just also I enjoyed like the family game night, of course. That was really, really fun. I think that I just enjoy all of them, but like by the kickoff of this, because for me, very transparent. Like I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how it was going to flow. I didn't. I know that we have great chemistry outside of here, but I didn't know like really how it was going to translate. We're not in the same room. You're in your space, I'm in my space. So I really wasn't sure like how it was going to translate, but I'm so grateful that you know it translated well, and it's just been an amazing journey, and I cannot wait for us to come back from this break that we're going to take, a well-needed break, I think, because it gives us opportunity. So I'm really excited about what's to come. Like I really, really am. I thank everybody again for watching us tonight. We have some very special guests that will be joining us tonight. A few of the guests that are joining us tonight are individuals that will be joining us at our summit that will be happening on Saturday, February 1st. This, I want to let you know that tonight, for those who are watching it, and we'll be going back to rewatch it, and I'll announce it again as our numbers begin to grow with all of those who may watch, is that we are going to be giving away a free summit registration from tonight's episode. So I'm really excited about that. But if you have not registered for the summit, listen, make sure you do so. It is going to be on Saturday, February 1st, in the East Falls section of Philadelphia at the Greatness Center. We have very special guests, and tonight the guests that are joining us, we have Mr. Gary Jones, who is one of our guests who will be joining us. We have Leanne Douglas Trotman, who is going to be joining us. Emmanuel Magruder, who is a photographer extraordinaire, who's going to be joining us tonight. And we also have my sis Anitra Green, who's going to be joining us, and she's going to be sharing about grief. So what I want to do is encourage you all that are watching is that we have licensed therapists on tonight. We have business moguls that will be joining us tonight, talking about all things mental health and well-being. And as you know, many of you know that I am very passionate about this. So I want you to, those who are watching, we're going to encourage you tonight to make sure that you tag individuals to let them know that this show is happening tonight. And tonight's topic is, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Are you okay? And we're doing a mental health and well-being check-in because this, like I said, this is something that I've been passionate about for years. I just remember how it all started. Like I remember when I think I shared this before, that when my sister passed away, that it was important for me to I felt like many people didn't check in. Like people would call, but what I found was that people were calling to see like what they could get out of me, if that makes sense. Like it was one of those things to be like, hey, how are you feeling today? And I would say, you know, I'm doing okay. And honestly, not being truthful because I was not okay. And then the conversation would just transition into what they needed from me. And as I shared before, there were many times that I was sitting on the couch and I was crying about my sister. This was in 2020 going into 2021. I would be sitting on the couch crying about my sister, and someone would call, and then I would stop crying and say I'm okay, and then go about my business. And the truth of the matter is, I was not okay. So even in those moments, I think that what's important is that when you are talking to people, that we look for the signs to say like, hey, what are the signs? What's taking place? Like, what are they doing differently? To say like, are you mentally okay? How is your well-being? And I don't think many people noticed the signs because I was able to function, but they didn't realize the moments that I was dealing with this grief and all of those things, that I was just going through the process and just being there for whoever needed whatever from me. So it was important for me to say, you know what? I want to be the person that be able to check in on people because I know what it's like not to be checked in on or to be checked in on correctly. I'll say it like that. I wanted to be the person that if I check in on you, that I'm very intentional to listen to how you feel. That if I know that even if you're going through something or you need something, that I don't call you in those moments to ask for anything. It's like, hey, how are you? Are you okay?
I want
So
to talk about you. Yeah,
yeah,
I get it.
you
I
know,
get it.
so it stemmed from, you know, those check-ins and being able to check in with people, and then it just translated to like, oh, now I want to have a conversation. Let me grab some therapists and let me talk to some
Right.
coaches and see if they are willing to come on to have a conversation. And we did it, and you know that was a success. It was a huge success. Then the more research and the more I started to advocate for mental health and making sure that people were checking in on themselves and making sure that they were good, that it started to turn into like doing seminars and traveling and
Yeah.
doing all of these things. And I think I shared this on the episode not too long ago, that it translated from that. And now what's happening is now I'm presenting this all over the United States,
Yes,
doing
you
like a
are.
"Are you okay?" Presentation. So I'm looking for it to this weekend because on Friday I'm traveling to California.
Yeah.
I'll be in Modesto, California. I'll be flying into San Francisco, going over to Modesto, and I am going to present "Are You Okay" 4 times on the 25th. There's going to be like rotating individuals that will be coming through in groups of about 30 to 40 at this legacy. It's called a Legacy Summit that I'll be presenting. And then that Sunday, I'll be leaving Modesto, going over to Greenville, South Carolina. And then I'm going to be presenting there as well. Are you okay? And I tell you, every time that this subject is presented in front of crowds and groups of people, what tends to happen? There's never a dry eye at the end of it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah, it's never a dry eye.
And y'all can be sure too. Just make sure y'all register for the summit, okay?
Right.
Just throw that out there.
Right. You know, and it's amazing like how all this has happened. And one of the great things about this is that I've had an opportunity to take Lori with me. Shout out to Lori McClay, who may be watching, who may not be watching, I'm not sure, but had an opportunity for her to witness it. And like she was like one of the first family members to witness this thing that happened. And I mean, I'm at this conference and I'm sharing about checking in and making sure that people are okay. And there were principals and assistant principals and superintendents in the room, and they were crying because a lot of them were not okay, because I always tell them in this meeting that if we're not okay for students and we're not okay for we're not going to be any good to anybody else. So
that's right.
That's just always my feel about that. So I really want people to come to the summit, because that's the expectation. Like, it's not the tears. That is not about that. But I want us to continue to be able to have these conversations and to be able to talk about these things, because it's going to be a thing to where we are responsible for checking in on each other. So yes. I said all that to say is like this. That's one reason why this show is so important to me tonight, to make sure that people are being able to be checked in on. We're asking the question, are you okay, with nothing in return? You know, we just want to check in on people and then have a platform in a place where people can check in on each other, and knowing how to do that, because sometimes people just don't know how to check in.
Right. You just need to hear it. Something needs to spark, something needs to trigger, and you can relate. You can really grow from another testimony or another story, another situation. And I love that. I love this for you. I love you for thinking of this and being here to create this platform. And you got a bunch of people also in the comments saying thank you too. So listen, shout out to you, DW. Right. So this is the thing too. So I went back and forth sharing this information. I wasn't sure how I was going to share. And there's a lot that I want to share tonight because of for so many reasons. But I remember some years ago, and you know, y'all know that I'm very transparent. Tonight is our special 2-hour show, so we're gonna be here for a while, and our guests are gonna be with us. But I was a little hesitant to share this, and I'm finally, I don't want to say finally, but I'll say like when I hit my 40s, I guess. You guys, make sure you share this video, make sure you tag people, because it is our goal tonight that people that are watching, that they receive something that is said tonight, that conversations begin, people begin to heal. So make sure that you're tagging people so that they can know to come on and watch us tonight. We want to get our numbers up, not only for the numbers sake of it, but
If you know someone that can benefit from this conversation, the goal tonight is really to encourage people tonight, that to let them know that they are not alone, that if there's anything that they want to do, they can accomplish that. And that's the mission tonight. So please, please, please make sure that you are tagging individuals and sharing this video so that people can join us tonight. But I was talking about the journey of a human being and how a human being started, and the conversation around, are you okay? So a human being just really kind of started as my own thing to be like a life coach. But as the more that I started to talk about, are you okay? I told you the journey that we went on, like all of the things that we done. We went from, me doing my personal work and checking in on people, to having the panel where we did 2 episodes of Are You Okay? Where we had minister, a life coach, and 2 licensed therapists that were on. Then I started to do this as a presentation. I've had an opportunity to present this over 20 times. I presented it in California, in multiple cities in California. I've had an opportunity in South Carolina, many places in Philadelphia, different places within Tennessee, all over, to be able to present this. But I thought to myself, as I continue to do this work, what would be the next thing? So many, many years ago, I remember writing, I had a party, and I'm just me being transparent tonight. I had a party for my book signing. I was going to release a book. I was releasing a book called Chocolate High. We had a whole party.
I was there.
Yeah. We had a whole party and everything, and I was really excited about this. But I think that one of the things that I was I think I kind of moved too fast. Like, and many of you know that I'm a writer. I'm a writer, like that is my gift. I'm a writer, and I love to write. Even my master's degree is in creative writing. I love to write. And as I was sharing, I was like, oh my God, this is just not the time. I had a book, honestly, that I wanted to write. And I actually hosted an event, a party. It was an amazing party. It was a chocolate themed party. Everybody had on their browns and reds.
Yes.
It was a really nice party. But what I was not able to do was to present a product, a book. And so, and people asked me for years to come. They were like, what happened to the book? What happened to the book? And the truth of the matter is, like, it's one of those crazy things that when, like, timing is everything, because I just was not able to produce a product. And what I found myself forcing myself to be able to write this fiction book that I just wanted to entertain. And, I've done the play. So I'm like, let me write this book. It just was not the timing. Was I embarrassed? Absolutely. Because I was really trying to push to get this book done, and my heart was not in it. But as I begin to continue to do the work around Are You Okay? And doing A Human Being, and as I'm presenting, and as I study becoming an advocate to promote, mental health awareness and things like that. It was important for me to take all of the things that I've learned, all of the things that I've been presenting, and put it together. So with that being said, I wrote a book.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you. The book is actually in production right now. But here's the manuscript. Here's the so that you can see it. So I actually have a product that will be.
Oh my God! Congratulations!
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let me see some
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to tell you about it, and we do have our guests that are waiting. They'll come on. You guys will be here soon. Our guests are here, so please don't leave. Our guests are here. I promise you we'll talk to them. But Are You Okay? It's a mental health and well-being check-in. And I was able to finish this book. And one of my goals was to finish this book a long time ago. And I actually did it. Like, I did it before. And this is why I always say that it's very important to find a goal and stick to a goal. Because when you get an opportunity to be able, when you get an opportunity to say, like, hey, I don't care how much time was left in the year. My goal was to finish it within the year, right? And I finished it like a few days before the year ended. But it was a project that I've been working on. So it's a pretty thick book. It's a book. But the best part about it is that I also did a 31-day reflection guide where for 31 days, after you read the book, I want you to take time to reflect, because you will have an opportunity to just go back over the things you read. It's education about what mental health versus mental illness. And it's so funny because I had a conversation. I just joined this arts group, and I'll talk about that later. But I just joined this art group, and we were talking about mental health. And one of the ladies in the conversation, what she said was like, "Yeah, I don't think we should talk about mental health because most of the time you need a therapist, you need this." And I'm like, that's where you become educated, and I think like in that moment was confirmation for me that this needed to be done. Because
Right.
like
Yep.
all of us struggle with like some type of mental health something. I said,
Mhm.
why can't we talk about sexual health? We can talk about our physical health. Why
Yep.
can't we talk about mental health? Because it becomes such a taboo thing that people don't want to talk about. And it's just like, we should be able to have these conversations
Yes.
about our mental stability. So in the book opens up with some it starts with like a story of hope. I share my personal journey. So if you want to know more, even more about me, I share like my personal journey with mental health. And then I go right into the mental health versus mental illness so that we can educate people on that. And then we go right into it. So look, here's the back. This is the back cover of the book. Front cover, and yeah, this is the manuscript for it, but it has been submitted. It's going through the process, and as soon as it is released and ready, I will let the whole world know.
Please keep us posted. I want an anticipated date, honey. This is exciting.
Right.
What?
So yeah, and it's just like I want to continue to do this work because, like I said, I'm speaking about this so often that it's very important for me to be able to have some literature to support it. You know, I have my slides, I have things that I hand out, but this was important for me to do. So tonight's episode is super important to me. So as I said, before we start bringing our guests on, please, everyone, if you're watching, make sure you tag people to let them know that we are live, that we are talking about mental health and well-being. We have some therapists with us tonight. We have some business individuals that are joining us tonight. And as we are going through our time, I don't want to take up too much time, but Ana and I have not did our weekend recap. So I want to give us time before I want to give us time to talk about you know, our weekend. I want you guys to send some love to Ana tonight. She's not feeling well at all. And I even told her, I said, Ana, like, you don't even have to come on. But she was like, no, I don't want to let you down. I'm here with you. So please, please, please make sure that you all send your prayers and love to Ana because she's not feeling well. So Ana, how was your weekend?
My weekend. Well, I've already stated that I was not feeling too good. So it was a pretty chill weekend. I will say that one of my closest, dearest girlfriends that I've known for most of my life, Nikki, she celebrated a birthday. So you know, you just went out, got some food, nothing too crazy. And then Naraya plays basketball, so we had a basketball game on Saturday. We're right back in the house. And laid down for the rest of the day. My girlfriend Tracy came over. It was a very chill weekend. And then Sunday, Eagles game. We won. What else needs to be said? You know, very, very quick. Very simple. How was your weekend? What was your weekend recap?
You know, I watched the Eagles game. You know, very transparent, and y'all don't have to light me up in the thing.
Oh,
I'm not an Eagles fan. However, I will root for whoever I feel I need to root for. And I'm rooting for the Eagles. I really am. I really am because, like, you ever just like the way that they've been playing and been watching, and they've been doing an amazing job. So I'm really, really excited to see what they're doing. I'm rooting for them. You know, I know next. You're welcome.
You for that.
I know.
Thank you for that. I know that probably took a lot. Thank you.
Right. I know. Next week is the game where it will determine if they're going to Super Bowl. I will not be in the city, but I want the city to feel so. I want them to make it because I think the city needs to win right now. I think the city needs a win. I think people need to be excited and celebrate. You know, and what I love about the Eagles fan, they are very passionate. You never have to be confused with where they're coming from. So I'm excited to see, you know, that. But what did I do this weekend? Oh, my sister was here from California, so I was really excited about that, and we celebrated my nephew's birthday this past Thursday. So
happy belated.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. So we just had a good time. It was a pretty chill weekend, and you know, I did some work and some things. Yeah, so it was a pretty chill weekend. So I was really, really happy to be able to relax this weekend. What I will say is that something happened this weekend that really, really blew my mind. I've only shared it with like my close circle. Ana, I don't even think I told you this.
I'm literally sitting here like, did he tell me?
No,
I'm so confused.
I don't think I told you this yet, but something happened and that just blew my mind. So this weekend, I'm having a conversation, and you know, I went back and forth if I was going to share this or not, but I decided to because I just want people to feel really encouraged by this.
Okay.
You know, some at the beginning of the month, I had an opportunity to do my vision board with some of my friends and my sisters that I really, really love and adore. And we had an opportunity to do our vision boards, and I put everything out on the vision board. And it just showed you, it's one of those things to where when you are thinking about like plans for your life and plans that you want to do and things that you want to do, you know, it's always funny how God works and the amazing things that he do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a whole plan of all the things that you want to do, but God always have a way of showing you how to do, how he's going to work and what his plans are, like what he has in store for you. And for me, like everybody knows that, like, I mean, a lot of people know what my dream car is, right? That my dream car, it has always been a BMW. And
Ooh, took it right out my mouth.
Right, that has always been my dream car. And you know, I think that it's one of those things to where you anticipate and you think about it and you say like, how is this going to happen? And you know, and so my goal was like, hey, by the time I'm 45, I want to have a BMW, and it's like that's what I want. It's my dream car.
Okay.
And so I'll be 42 on January 29th. I'm really excited about that. So I was thinking about that. So even on my you all right, Anitra? So I was thinking to myself, like, I'll get this car when I'm 45, and I'll be happy with that because that's my dream.
Yes.
So on this past weekend, I was blessed with a BMW.
Stop.
I'm going to go into the details when we return on March 17th. So please, or if you subscribe to my Instagram page, I will go into all the details.
Please, because I subscribe, so I want my details. Yeah, I subscribed. I want my details.
But it's one of those things to where, and like I said, I'll go into the details later.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So it'll be here. I think like the first week of February or something like that. Like after like the second week or something.
I want to touch it.
Right. But it's one of those things to where I say, like, I did this whole vision board. I had all these dreams and I had all these goals and all these things I want to accomplish. That was not on my list of things to get or to do. I said 45, right? I said I want to do this when I'm 45.
Okay.
But it goes to show you that when you know you are faithful to God and when he does stuff for you and he's going to do it, when you feel like there's no way this is going to happen, and 45 for me was even a stretch. But when I tell you, it's not something like I didn't pay for it. Like it was a birthday gift to me from someone who is extremely close and to me. So I'm excited. I'm thrilled. Her name, she has a name already. She's ready to come. If you know anything about me, you know I'm a huge 227 fan. So she's white. She's going to be white. She's beautiful. Her name is Pearl. However, her name is Pearl Shea from 227.
Pearl Shea, you done named the car. Before the car even got here, he done named the car.
Yeah, so
oh my goodness, that is pure happiness and joy. I am so happy for you.
Thank you. And I think it's one of those things, like I said, it's all coming together, like everything is being pulled together. And I am really, really excited about that. All the paperwork, all the things, everything is done.
Congrats on Pearl.
I know. Thank you so much. Pearl Shea will be here soon. And as soon as she comes, I already have pictures of her. But as soon as she comes, I'll make sure that you see the pictures.
Yes, I'll subscribe. I'm gonna see it.
Right. You know, so I'm really excited about that. God is so amazing. I see people that are watching. Thank you all so much for joining us. We have people watching us on YouTube. We see you on Instagram. We see you on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. But I don't want to prolong the time. Ana, we have some special guests, and we already want to talk a little bit
tonight. Please.
And so I want us to have this conversation. And we are a little bit behind the schedule that I did share with them, I promise you. But there was just so much that I wanted to share tonight and so many things that I wanted to tell you all, because I think it's important for you all to know that anything that you put your mind to, anything that you desire, when you put yourself in a place to be able to receive, especially after you've given so much, And one of our shows that we talked about was the year of you.
Yeah.
And being able to, I think it was last week. No, the week before that, we talked about love, but the week before that, we talked about the year of you and being able to focus on you and be open to receive the things that you desire. And I'm a firm believer that there's nothing that you put out there. If you want it, it can be yours. Mm-hmm. It can be yours. So we have the ability to speak those things that we want to come into our life. So I really want to encourage you all to do that because we have a lot of things in store for you tonight. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So as I said, we are going to bring on our first guest. I'm so excited to have Ana. Is there anything you want to say before we bring on our guest?
No, but I want y'all to share the video and thank y'all so much for being here tonight.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us. I see the love. I appreciate you all. And I see that you all are watching on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So thank you so much. But we have our first guest tonight. And like I said, tonight's topic is, are you okay? And I'm going to bring on our first guest, Mr. Gary Jones, who is a licensed therapist. He's going to share more about what he do. And you can see, if you have not registered for the summit, you can come on, you can register for the summit because Gary will be there on the panel. And so I'm going to bring in Gary Jones and we're going to talk about mental health and well-being tonight and all that great stuff. So make sure you have your pen and paper ready because Mr. Gary, we've worked together on several things. He is going to drop some gems for you tonight. So everybody, come on, show some love for Mr. Gary Jones.
Mr. Gary. Hey, Mr. Gary.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
We are doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Gary. We are really excited to have you. Yes. I want us to just dive in. Gary, tell us a little bit about yourself tonight. I know that you are the founder of Surviving Today. Tell us a little bit about your company and a little bit about yourself.
Well, okay. Thank you very much. I mean, basically, we are we provide therapy, basically. Small, we're growing. But our we emphasize mostly anxiety, depression, trauma, and specifically men issues. So the stuff that the brothers are going through, that's what we're into for the most part. I mean, we do other things, obviously, but those are the things that are pretty much our specifics. Been doing Surviving Today has been in place since 2014. We do clinical supervision, we do therapy, we do trainings, workshops, consultations, all of those type of things. So that's pretty much what I do. I've been a therapist for probably 15, 16 years or so. But
that's awesome.
But I've been in the mental health field much longer than that. I used to be a case manager. So I kind of like, if you name it, I probably did it, by the grace of God. But that's pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much what we do in terms of the services that we provide. Me personally, I am an Eagles fan. I was sweating bullets. I was waiting. I'm so happy that they pulled that one out. Mm-hmm. This game will not be easy. That's coming up, but I feel comfortable about it. Most importantly, what I want to say, for me, at the end of the day, when all that is over, I am a husband. My wife is listening to this, and I'm a father of one daughter who I should not tell how old she is. I'll leave that alone. Okay, but anyway, and I have 4 grandkids, and I like to go with that because, at the end of the day, you can take everything away, but you can't take that. Family is the most important thing. And one of the things I try to tell my younger clinicians is that you got to know how to put the boundaries in place in your life so that your family has to come first. There is a place, obviously, we do the work that we do. It's the hard work that we do. But if you work for everybody else, if you take care of everybody else and you don't take care of the ones that love you the most, you've lost out, So basically, that's the one thing I would definitely say.
Thank you so much, Gary, for that. So I want to dive right in because I know that we don't have a lot of time, and I really do appreciate you joining us tonight. And everyone, we have Mr. Gary Jones, who is joining us tonight. He will be at the summit this year, the Are You Okay Summit, that will happen on Saturday, February 1st, 2025. If you have not registered, registration is still available. So Gary, I want to talk to you about mental health versus mental illness, because a lot of times, because of the stigma that's out there, a lot of people don't even focus on the mental illness aspect of it. When they hear mental health, they automatically think like, oh, someone is crazy. Oh, someone has a disease, or someone is schizophrenic. Like, they don't really understand the difference between mental health and mental illness. And I think that it's important for you tonight, for our viewers tonight, to know the difference. So can you please explain what the difference is for us so that everyone can understand that's watching?
Yes, I can do that. Thank you, Dwayne and Ana. The difference really is more simple than we want to make it. The reality is that mental health basically deals with our overall well-being. It's all about our physical, our mental, our psychological, our emotional. It's all of those type of things, how we deal, how we're interacting in society, you know, with other people around us, how we interact with ourselves. I mean, so essentially your mental health is it's comprised of all of those things. And you know, when we're talking about mental health, we're talking about issues with, I mean, sometimes, you know, some things are stressful. You know, the difference here, I'm going to say, between this and mental illness is that overall for mental health, people have that ability to deal with normal stressors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people get stuck there because they, like you said, Dwayne, when you say mental health, they say, oh, well, there's something wrong with that person, something wrong with that situation, but they don't understand that mental illness is actually a different definition. Mental illness is when we get to a point where you're not dealing with those situations very well. So let's say that you're dealing with depression, you're dealing with anxiety, you're dealing with trauma, you know, and a lot of us have those, most of us have this, some of us have those issues and we don't even realize that we have them. That's another conversation for another day. But the reality is that when those issues get to a point where we can no longer function in a positive manner, function in a healthy manner, when it gets to a point now where you have to go see a psychiatrist, or it gets to a point now where it becomes a specific diagnosable event. And that's going to be the key piece. So mental health does not necessarily mean mental illness. Mm-hmm. Can it all kind of comprise a little bit? Yes, it can, but not necessarily. So mental illness is just the opposite. Now we're talking about the mood of a person. We're talking about the thought process of a person. And usually we're talking about that person's inability to manage the mood, that person's inability to manage the thought, to manage all the circumstances that's going around this. So what happens is that all of these things happen. And then what makes it a mental illness, as opposed to just someone that's having an up day or a down day, is the fact that the psychiatrist is going to look at certain events. How long has this been going on? Mm-hmm. You know, so, you know, is it depression? Has it been going on for 2 weeks? And if it's been going on for 2 weeks, what's been happening? What are some of the symptoms that you've been experiencing? Same thing for anxiety. So you got to know the time, how long you've been dealing with this issue and the impact of the issue. But generally, mental illness is more of a negative, has more of a negative connotation, because a lot of times it kind of involves treatment, it involves medications. Whereas for mental health, your mental health can really be good. Mm-hmm. A lot of times what I like to do, Dwayne, I really like to kind of change the terminology. I personally like to use mental wellness, you know, because honestly, a lot of times when people think of mental health, like you said, they think about it in a negative, you know, perspective. But when we think about mental wellness, now we're thinking about everything that goes with that, you know, how we go about taking care of ourselves. And that's really what wellness is all about.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for making that clear for so many people. I want to segue into this question because it's still, I think this talks about like our mental health, mental wellness. And I just want your feedback or your thought process on this. So in a time when so many people are dealing with difficult things, why do we all still try to deny that we're struggling?
I mean, in all honesty, that's the way we've been trained.
Can you elaborate?
We've been trained generationally to put our illnesses, our traumas, our anxieties, our depression, we've been taught to put them in a little box. You know, we don't talk about it. We may pray about it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't pray about it, but sometimes you might need a little bit more than that. Mm-hmm. So I think what I would say is that we have generations of people who don't know how to get help. They don't understand the importance of getting help. And when you don't understand the importance of getting help, seeking help is not going to be your first thing that you do. Mm-hmm. You may not even realize that you need help. And I think that becomes part of the problem. So, like, for example, I'm a therapist. I'm always telling people it's a good idea to have a therapist. I've had a therapist and I am a therapist, you know, so there's sometimes things that you can't work out on your own. But if the social situations that we've been in, social settings that we've been in, downplay what depression is, downplay anxiety, if all of these things get downplayed, well, we're not going to, you know, we're going to be embarrassed about it. We're going to think that, you know, we're going to quote as men, for example, just man up. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that isn't the best thing to do. Or sometimes you can ask a man to man up, but he doesn't really know how to man up. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I think I want to read this. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 people might experience mental health issues yearly. That means someone you know or love might be going through difficult times. What are some of the signs that people should notice when they notice when someone may be going through a mental health crisis? I'll say, for lack of a better term.
Well, I mean, one of the things I would say is if now there's a significant increase or need for help for that person, if that person seems not to be functioning well, but this also means that you got to know this person pretty well. And so, which means that we have to do, Dwayne, what you've been doing, checking in on people, not just assuming that just because people say that, because you know, the first thing we do, and when we ask, someone asks you how you doing, well, I'm good. As you said earlier, I'm good, but I might not be good. So the question is now we got to get to know people very well. But with that being said, you're looking for signs that are just a little bit off, and sometimes you might miss them. It's one thing to be anxious, but it's another thing to be anxious all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one thing to have moments when we're depressed. Some of us have just gotten out of relationships that were heartbreaking and hurt us. And we're going to go through moments where we are depressed. Now, once again, if these things continually last, seem to have no end, no loss of energy, people aren't sleeping well, people losing jobs, you know, people breaking up in their just natural relationships. Those are some of the signs that we need to look for. If you can get a person that might have been, some people are social drinkers, but now they come a little bit more than social drinkers, you know, for example. You know, these are the things. I guess I'm saying a lot depends on how much you know how well you know a person, and what are you seeing that is different. Sometimes those differences can creep up and we're not paying attention, because some people do want to just suffer in silence. Some people don't feel that they should tell you what's going on, because if my mama did it, if my daddy did it, my grandmama did, I can do it. But that's not necessarily a good thing, a smart thing, or a healthy thing to do.
Mm-hmm. When I've done some research, and one of the things that I've noticed is that people have said that one of the things that they feel that makes a huge difference is being able to converse with others, having a conversation. And I just want to read these stats to you. So research has shown that conversations can make a difference when someone is struggling. Out of those who have recently talked to someone about what's troubling them, 85% of them felt that the conversation was authentic. 83% said the person who reached out used supportive and encouraging language, and 80% agreed that the conversation was meaningful and helpful. So in your opinion, or in your research, or in your thought process, how important is being able to have a conversation with someone? How important is that to you?
Absolutely, positively important. You have to be able to find somebody's that you can talk to about what's going on in your life. You have to. I mean, you cannot keep this thing bottled inside of. When we try to keep these things deep down inside of us, it's going to come out. The question now is, how is it going to come out? Okay,
Right.
so we might be talking ulcers, we might be talking heart attacks, we might be talking strokes. The stress that we don't deal with will come out. So to answer your question, hopefully simply and plainly, it is important to have folk that you can talk to. Someone, so we can't talk to everybody.
Very true.
We can't talk. Everyone is not, everything that's going on with you is not meant for you to tell everybody, because everybody can't handle what you need to tell them.
Correct.
So now we need to be mindful, prayerful, reflectful about who's in our lives that can share, that we might be able to share some things with, and they'll listen. A listening ear, man, that's like honey. That's
Yeah.
like honey coming from a rock. I'm telling you, that's what it's all about. I mean, so Dwayne, Ana, yeah, we have to be able to be there to listen, to have people to listen to us. Sometimes just to give us the ear, like, and to be willing to be our friends, because Job's friends, they were fine until they opened their mouth. Okay, when they opened their mouth, and
Very true.
they were fine. They opened their mouths, and that was a problem. So something, when your friends open their mouths, you want them to speak life to you. You want them to speak something to you that's going to revive you, something that's going to keep you, that's going to give you hope. You don't want them to lie to you.
Yeah.
But you want them to tell you what you need to hear at that moment.
Yes. You guys, thank you so much for watching tonight. We are live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. We have with us tonight Mr. Gary Jones from Surviving Today, who will be joining us at the summit, the Are You OK Summit. Yeah, the Are You OK Summit that will be happening on Saturday, February 1st, 2025 in the East Falls section of Philadelphia. If you have not registered yet, registration is still open. Please register and come out and see Mr. Gary Jones. Ana, I want to leave the floor open to you if you have any questions before we let Mr. Gary go.
Yes, you definitely took two of the questions, just like any triggers or just things to notice about people that we may think have mental health issues or mental illness, but you guys did touch on it. I just really, I guess, want to say that I really agree with being able to have a conversation when you are going through different situations in life. And just listening to you guys talk, the dynamic of having that conversation with a friend opposed to just being in the right place at the right time with the right person that sees these things, that has that connection or that spiritual intellect to be able to also speak life into you. I think that those moments are needed more than what we know. I can literally think of so many times being at work at the airport for all these many years of just having a bad day of whatever I have going on, and just certain coworkers that I don't know personally, but they just know me and my bubbly self and can just literally bring me to tears just by the encouragement and the way that they see me and the fact that they know something is not right. So I just agree that, having a conversation about anything you're going through can always help with any type of mental health. So thank you, Gary. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Before we go, I just want to say, Ana, I hope you feel better.
Thank you. I'm pushing through. Thank you.
And Dwayne, just when I thought I had seen it all with you, with the book coming out, congratulations on that.
He's amazing.
He is. I also want to say congratulations on your 4-wheeled baby.
Thank
you. And looking forward to seeing her. Okay.
Pearl.
You will see her soon. Pearl Shay can't wait to meet everybody that I'm connected to. Mr. Gary Jones from Surviving Today LLC. Thank you so much. And again, you can see Mr. Gary Jones at the Are You OK Summit Saturday, February 1st in the East Falls section of Philadelphia. If you have not registered, visit www.dwaynevundrake.com and you will be able to register for the summit. Again, Mr. Gary, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good night.
Welcome. Thank you guys as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ana, I tell you, I just love Mr. Gary so much. Like we've worked on several things together. He's been a part of this show when I did the first season, but just having a conversation with him and just the insight that he has, I was so grateful that he gave the opportunity to really explain the difference between mental health and mental illness, because like I said, there's such a stigma that people don't even take knowledge of mental illness. They just
I don't think I honestly knew the
yeah,
difference.
you
So
know,
I got my notes.
I love it. I love it. And I'm telling you what, really, like, to let me know that I am doing the right job. Like sometimes you may question, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I walking in the right vein? And I'm telling you, when I was in this meeting last week and this lady said, oh, we should not talk about mental health because you need a therapist. And, I don't specialize. And I'm like, you don't have to be specialized to talk to someone and have a conversation. That doesn't require you to do that. Our mental health, I said, we can talk about sexual health, physical health, we can talk about all these different things, but why do we not want to talk about mental health? And I am going to continue to be an advocate to push these conversations as I go forth in the world.
Yes, as you should.
So, you guys, thank you again so much. Thank you for watching us. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We see the love. We see you. We appreciate you. Continue to show that love. Continue to share the video because we have more guests that are joining us tonight. We changed up the schedule just a little bit, so I want to bring on our next guest tonight who will be joining us, Miss Leanne. I can't wait for you all to talk to her and get to know who she is. Leanne is a new sister to me, and I'm just really excited about what she has to bring. And you are going to learn about her for those business owners who need organization in their life, who needs organization within like their business, their personal life. Leanne is the go-to person, but we're going to talk about like how mental health affects you, your mental health and well-being sometimes affects us. And when our life is chaotic because we have all these things, this chaotic stuff happening from not being organized, not having stuff here, having stuff there. I consider myself to be one of the most organized people that you ever met. So I realized that when there's things all over the place, it really, really can affect your mental health. You feel off. You feel like things are not together. So I'm really excited to have her here tonight. So I'm going to bring Leanne on and let her tell us a little bit about her business and what she's going to do. Leanne will also be at the summit on Saturday, February 1st. So if you have not registered and you would like to meet Leanne, please make sure you do. So Leanne, welcome to the show tonight.
Yes. Hi, Leanne. All right.
All right, Leanne, you are muted. Can you unmute? There we go.
Hello.
There she is. Hey.
How are you?
Leanne, we are so excited to have you here tonight, and I cannot wait for the people to meet you and learn more about Onyx Seeds. So I want to give you this opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do and who you are.
Absolutely. I am Leanne Douglas Trotman, and I am just so excited. Thank you to Dwayne and Ana for this invitation. I'm excited to share more about me, Onyx Seeds, and participate in the summit on the 1st of February. I'm originally from Connecticut. I am here in Philadelphia by way of Temple University, and I always tell people that if I write a book, it'll be how Philadelphia saved my life. It was just an awesome.
I love that.
I mean, Temple University was just the institution that I needed at the time, at the moment. When my parents dropped me off in Broad Street, they were like, wait, you have to cross the street, like this street, to go to school every day? Because coming from a small town in Connecticut, our Broad Street is like an alleyway compared to Broad Street in Philadelphia. And so I'm just grateful to be here. And after graduating from Temple University, I went on to work at what they call the Big Four accounting firm. One of the Big Four accounting firms is PricewaterhouseCoopers, where I did external audit. I did consulting for people. It's called People and Change. So we did change management. We did trainings. Shortly after that, I went to General Electric, and I did some process improvement work there for their global water business. So I was working with colleagues in Argentina, the UK, Asia, across the US. And it was just an awesome experience just doing process improvement and training. And then I went on to another Big Four company called KPMG. And I spent 10 years there, again, working with clients internally and externally. So my career really spans really helping people, helping organizations improve and just be their best organization culturally, financially, as well as from a people perspective. And so I thought, why not plant those seeds in smaller organizations? Why not plant those seeds in people? And so I created Onyx Seeds. I will say that it was something that I did very hesitantly. When I say hesitantly, I mean my mother pushed me until she could push me no longer. We would have these long conversations on the way to work because she has a long commute, I have a long commute. And she's like, Lee, you have to start a business. And I'm like, you're my mother. You're just saying that. Like, no. And so she just pushed and pushed and pushed. And when you have a mother like mine who just believes in you and just pushes you, and I should have known she was onto something because my mother really does not say things she doesn't mean. So if I was doing something wrong, she would tell me.
Okay.
And the fact that I'm doing something right, she's telling me. But going to that mental wellness, that's going to be my new term, Mr. Gary. Thank you.
Right? Didn't he drop that? I told you guys he was going to drop something, and he dropped that.
That's my new term, mental wellness. We're so programmed to believe the bad, right? And so my mother's telling me, Lee, you got something, like, do it. Like, we would leave our conversations and she's like, please tell me when I get to work, I got to write it down. I'm like, that was God speaking. You're going to have to try to remember, because some of the things I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel. That was God. That wasn't me. Sometimes I'm like, and so she belongs to an organization and she said, we need your help. And this is when the meeting is, you need to be prepared. So I stood up the business, I made it formal and everything. It's a subsidiary of my larger LLC. And here we are today, helping people and organizations grow and just planting seeds of hope, planting seeds of life into organizations, into people. And so one of the things that I heard Mr. Gary say, I heard Ana say, is speak life. And I really do think that if you talk to any of my friends or colleagues, that is what I do. I am someone that speaks life into people. I speak positivity. There's so much in this world that is just negative. And so why add to that? And so I really do try my best to be as intentional as possible. So that's me. Going back to what Mr. Gary said about the family, my biggest cheerleaders are my mother, my husband, my twin sons. There was a point in time that if it wasn't for my sister and my brother, who knows where I would be.
I get it.
Because I'm the youngest and they were away at school and they made sure to come home and take care of me, make sure I was good, make sure I had what I need for soccer. If mommy couldn't sign my permission slip, my sister did. Don't tell her, but my sister signed it for me, And so the family unit is just so important. And I just know that I am where I am because of that foundation. I'm a daddy's girl. I can fix things because I sat there and watched my father do it. I think I can do anything because my mother is a crafty person and she tries to figure things out. And so it's the family foundation. It's that family unit. My husband is one of my biggest cheerleaders. I'm a Delta and he has a shirt, husband of a Delta, that he wears proudly. You talked about those diehard Eagles fans. He's a diehard Leanne fan. And so that and what I'm surrounded with is really what helps me. And so Onyx Seeds was born out of my mother pushing me and me just following what God really does want me to be and just being obedient. So I'm just here planting seeds of life, planting seeds of hope into people and organizations to help them grow.
I absolutely love that. And I have to give a special shout out to my dear friend, Shauna McCoy, who is when I was thinking about, there was someone else that I was like, I don't know. And then she was like, I have a really good friend. The moment that you and I talked, like from the beginning, from the first conversation, I was like, I have a new sister. That's what it was. Just and you can just tell you can really just tell a genuine person that really wants to just pour into people. And I think what's important, and that's what's important to me, just to surround myself with people that are positive, that even if you see me doing something that I don't know, you have a conversation with me. You're not going to talk up to other people about what's going wrong or anything like that. So it's I felt your spirit from the very beginning, and I'm so with the people that the friends, and even planning this summit, I was very intentional about the people who would attend. And you were the last person that we selected to come and be a part. And I promise it's so well rounded, and that's why I felt that it was important to have you on tonight to talk to people. That I want to let y'all know, Leanne, if you love what you're seeing, Leanne will be at the summit this year. You do not want to miss it. The summit is Saturday, February 1st in the East Fall section of Philadelphia. Please, please, please make sure that you register if you haven't. But Leanne, so I want to talk a little bit more about Onyx Seeds, and what can people expect from Onyx Seeds?
So one thing that I am focused on and very intentional about is listening to my clients and listening to my customers. While I have a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience in professional services, everyone does not need everything, and everything is not for everyone. And so one of the things that Mr. Gary was talking about is that person that listens. And so my tailored approach to helping businesses is to listen to what I'm hearing, also doing research on your business and your industry, and then listening to what I'm not hearing. So if I'm talking to a company about something in their organizational culture and I understand their problems based on what they're telling me, but I also understand what's going on in the market, what's going on in the industry. And I'm saying, but your competitors are doing X. Like, how does that align to your strategy? So one, I listen to what they're thinking. And then two, I make sure they understand the broader spectrum of how they're working and where they're working, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit company, to help them think through what is best for their strategy and their long-term growth. A lot of times, what I hear about from companies is they're in their comfort zone. And if you really want to grow and go to that next level, you have to go to your growth zone. And moving from comfort zone to growth zone means that there's going to need to be change, and change is uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And so helping people through that change, going back to Delta, Delta means change. Helping people through that change is really what companies tend to need the most help with. And that's what I'm here to help people with and help companies with. And that's what you can expect from me, a listening partner in your challenges and a tailored solution. So while I have my own framework on how I ask questions, on how I go through things, a framework for a solution may look different from company A to company B, because their situation and their circumstances and their contextual examples may be very different.
I love that. Something you just said is, I want you to elaborate on this if you can, about the growth zone. I've never really heard that term before. And I'm telling you, everybody on here is dropping some knowledge
Like,
tonight.
seriously.
And I'm so here for it. Leanne, please talk about the growth zone.
So the growth zone is where you start to, one, accept kind of where you are, right? You can't move forward until you accept where you are. So first, you accept where you are. Two, you then identify where you want to go. So let's just use a very simple example. It's beginning of the new year. Not everybody, but a lot of people are like, I want to lose weight. So you have to accept kind of where you are. What are your habits? Are you eating potato chips all the time? Are you having that Coca-Cola all the time? Like, accept where you are, and then identify where you want to go, a realistic goal. I want to lose 20 pounds by September 15th. What are you going to do to get there? Right? I am going to eat chips maybe once a day versus 3 times a day. So I try to make sure I give my clients a sustainable, right? Sustainable is the key word, a sustainable solution, because you tend to say, I'm just going to stop eating chips. Really? I'm not sure. Is that really sustainable? So let's be as realistic as possible. So putting it in a business context, where you are today. Today we have 3 customers. Where do you want to go? I want to have 20 customers by March 20th. What are you going to do? I'm going to create a communication strategy. I'm going to create a marketing strategy. I'm going to create a business strategy. What do you think those new 17 customers will look like. What is that profile? This is my profile. The profile are nonprofits that are dealing with X, Y, and Z. Okay, so then you now know the market you're going to, who you're going to, and how you're going to communicate with them, as well as the marketing strategy you need to go to tap into them. So that's how you think about going into your growth zone, is identifying this is where I am, identifying where you're going to go, and then figuring out that plan and strategy to get there.
I love that. And I love it so much. Because one of the things that you said, and I think that this is the number one thing when it comes to in any area of life, really accepting where we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's almost like we become in denial of where we are, because then we can't move forward. It's like we can see an issue, we can see all the things not working, we can see all the things, and it's just like we're not willing to accept that this is where we are. And what we tend to do is blame everything else or everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's normally where we are. And I think that it takes a person that desires change to be able to accept and to reflect on where they are, versus, just saying, it's your fault. It's your fault that I'm here. It's your fault that I got this. It's your fault. And we are so quick to do the blame game, but not take accountability for what we have contributed to what's going wrong in our lives.
Right. So let me give you a personal example, right? I'm gonna get real personal real quick.
Ooh, this is a human being. You are human, and you are getting personal with us.
So let's say, I think it was February 25th, 2022.
Okay.
My husband wakes up with a bloody nose.
Mm.
My husband is as healthy as can be. He's 6'2", like minimal body weight. He can leave like the most little bit of food on his plate, like I'm full, he's good. Like he has such discipline. Like he's just incredible. Never drank a day of his life. Never smoked a day in his life, woke up with a bloody nose. And so I was like, we should go to the emergency room. He's like, no, I'll wait till my doctor's appointment at 11. I'm like, no. Go to the emergency room. He goes to the emergency room, and I drop the boys off at daycare. I go to work. I just started a new job. So I'm like, I have my 90-day plan. I need to execute against this. It's a bloody nose. He's fine. He calls me. He's like, when are you coming to the hospital? I was like, what do you mean? You're like, it's a bloody nose. And so he plays for me the recording from the doctor saying he has kidney failure.
Mm.
Whoa.
Mind you, he's not 40. He's in his like 37, 36, something like that.
Wow.
Kidney failure. Wow. Extremely healthy, right? So now I am stress eating. I am gaining all this weight. I'm eating things I don't need to be eating. I'm feeling the pressure of being a mother, a caregiver. Now we're down to one income. I'm feeling all the pressure. Fast forward to the end of last year, and I'm like, Lee, life is what it is, but you don't have to eat that way. Like, you're blaming the kidney failure, you're blaming your situation, you're blaming all of that on your eating. That's not making you eat that way. You have to find other ways to manage your stress, right? Mm-hmm. So I had to recognize where I was, and I had to say, figure out what you're doing and figure out other ways to manage your stress than eat. And so I've been on a journey. I've been on a journey to change how I eat. I've been on a journey to figure out how to manage my stress differently, because life is going to continue lifing, right? Yeah. And we can't get a bag of chips every time. I can't go to Chick-fil-A every time. Like, you have to figure out healthier ways for your mental wellness, my new word, for your own mental wellness.
As well. Mental wellness.
Mental wellness. So I'm moving into my growth zone. I'm stopping the blame on my situation, the blame on being a mom. Now it took me a long time to get here, and it's a process, right? Everyone has their process, and it's important to recognize where you are is where you are. But I'm just sharing that personal story to let people know that it is a journey. And life be lifing, but you have to make decisions to enter that growth zone. So ever since I entered that growth zone, like I've changed the way I'm eating. I'm taking this new probiotic, and just there's so many different things that I'm doing. And I literally, when I say Dwayne and Ana, I'm thinking clearer. literally thinking clearer. I can literally feel the difference in my body because I am challenging myself to think differently and to grow in a different way and not blame my situation, not eat my feelings, but truly to deal with my feelings and think about how I need to manage my stress in a different way.
I absolutely love that. And if you love it, I promise you there's a lot more that's going to come from Leanne at
Yes,
the RUOK
sir.
Summit on Saturday, February 1st. If you have not registered, please make sure you do so. Ana, I want to turn it over to you and see if you have any questions before we let Miss Leanne go for this evening.
Um, I don't think I necessarily have a question, but just everything that you started to talk about as far as your business, your brand, it made me excited. I've worked at the airport
Yes.
for some time, and just hearing that there is a business out there that will come in and really help shape and mold the culture or just change whatever is not helping or growing with the company. Like, it made me so excited. Like, I wanna book with you. How do we do this? Like, what? But it gave me hope, because most people know, I tell Dwayne all the time, like, I'm always in between, being ready to move on from my job, but then also, staying invested, because I have been there for about 7 years with one company, but I've been at the airport for 11 years in total.
Mhm.
And I have gone through so many management changes, it is not even funny, in
Mm.
7 years. And like I say, when I look to my left and I look to my right, like, I have a new team 3 months down the line, and now 6 months down the line, it's new faces. Like, nobody really knows or understands what's needed because of all the changes that continues to happen. There's no blueprint. There is no,
Mm.
hey, this is your position. This is what you need to do. They
Yeah.
kind of go us to the wolves. So I think that's really all I want to say. Like, hearing you and your goals, your passion, it really warms my heart. And I just want to say thank you for just, making this happen for other people and being able to provide something that employees need. It's not,
Absolutely.
without the ground people, without the people on the floor having that the appreciation, that recognition, where can they be, where can they go, so I think that's really all I have for you. I'm excited. I really want to know more about
I'm
your company.
excited too. I'm excited
Connect.
about Saturday, February 1st.
Yeah, Leanne, I'm telling you, like it's almost like my heart right now is just overjoyed
This is
from.
too much. It's too
Yeah, it
much.
is. Like, it's too much. Tonight has been a jam-packed night. It's just so exciting. Like, the conversation with Gary, the conversation with you, and I'm looking forward to the conversations that are to come.
Thank
We
you.
have photographer extraordinaire with us tonight, Emmanuel Magruder, and then my other sister, that's my brother, and then my other sister that's on here tonight that's going to talk about grief. If you listen, if you are on and you're watching, you do not want to miss this conversation about grief. I know that our show is 2 hours tonight, but if we have to go over, we will. However, Anita is going to bring it tonight to talk about grief, and she's just so fantastic at talking about that. But I think that what's important for me, and important for all of us, is that everybody's just walking into like their lanes and sharing the knowledge that they have. So I cannot wait to see you in full action on Saturday, February 1st at the RUOK Summit, because I know that the people are going to be blessed by everything you have to say, because in these 20 minutes, you have really, really blessed my soul. So thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited.
All right, y'all. You can see
Thank
Miss Leanne at the RUOK Summit on Saturday, February 1st. Leanne, thank you so much for joining us, and I really do appreciate you being here with us tonight.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. Ana,
This is too much.
I'm telling you.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, you don't understand. Like, what I go through at work.
Yeah. My heart feels nervous, like, in the most amazing way. Like, it feels so excited. And I think that what tends to happen for me is that, just me being my human self, sometimes you question if you're doing the right thing. And then, like, you hear voices in your head and all these things to say, like, oh, this summit is not going to be a blessing to anybody. Maybe you should cancel it. Maybe you should postpone. Like, maybe you should find another date. And you think about, and then you meet people like Mr. Gary, and then you have Leanne come on, and then I can't wait for Emmanuel to come on, and Anitra, and then people will see like why you need to register for this summit, because it is going to be life-changing to you if you attend. I promise you, I'm not just saying that, but the knowledge is going to be a one-day impact that's going to change so many lives. And I'm just so excited about that. I want to say this to those who are watching on Instagram. If you are watching on Instagram tonight, I don't know if the live stream will go for 2 hours, but if it doesn't, I don't know if they're going to allow us, but if it doesn't, I will add part 2 of the conversation, wherever it cuts off, if it decides to cut off, because we've never done a 2-hour show, and this is our mid-season finale.
It hasn't cut off yet because I got it on my laptop, bro. So
so if it doesn't cut off, we'll continue with where we are. But if it does, I will add part 2 of wherever it cuts off, because I am watching the live as well. I'm communicating with people on Instagram. Thank you for those who are posted from YouTube, and thank you to all of you who are watching on Facebook. We do appreciate you. I saw some comments about people loving your hoodie, and I am wearing the sweatshirt. I'm going to sit up so you can see. My head might get cut off. I don't know if you can see it, but it's the A Human Being. So I just released tonight on our, let me go. Yeah. We just released tonight that we have sweatshirts. We've never done sweatshirts before, but we have our hoodies and sweatshirts, and you can go on to my story on Instagram and on Facebook. I also posted on Instagram and Facebook on the timeline. So if you are looking for a hoodie or a sweatshirt, this is hoodie and sweatshirt season. So you can get good quality, 10 different colors that you can purchase at a reasonable price. And this is an affirmation. It's just not a brand. It is an affirmation to let people know that you are a human, and you are being, and you are driven, vital, and whole. And even if you don't feel like that, I promise you that if you continue to speak those things over your life, they will come true. So the encouragement is that you be driven, that you know that you are vital, and that we are declaring and decreeing that you are whole. So make sure you purchase your hoodie or your sweatshirt, or you can purchase both. Reasonable price. Please visit any of my social medias. So at this time, I want to bring in my brother. And I keep saying that he is a photographer extraordinaire, because y'all comment on my pictures. Listen, y'all comment on my pictures. Y'all see the pictures that I'm posting.
If y'all saw that book, you saw the front cover and the back cover. That's all me.
This is the man that has been behind the photography. I'm so grateful for him, and I'm so excited about him. Look, as I said earlier, the book that's coming out, Are You Okay? He took this picture. This picture will be on the front of my new book called Are You Okay? A Mental Health and Wellbeing Check-In and Conversation. And it will be released in the coming months. So thank you all so much. I'm excited about that. So you will see that coming soon. But I have to give it a shout out to my brother, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh my God. Hey guys, how y'all doing?
We are great. We are so great. Thank you so much. Everybody, this is Emmanuel Magruder. He is a photographer. He is a motivational speaker. He's all of the above. You name it, he is that, right?
Yeah, bottom line.
And I'm so happy to have you here tonight. He will be at the summit. So before we get into that, I want to tell everybody, one of the reasons why you should register for the summit is because Emmanuel, who I am considering him to be one of our sponsors, but guess what he's doing? For every single person who attends the summit, he is giving away. I don't want to say giving away. He's doing.
Giving away.
Giving away free headshots to everyone that is coming. So if you attend the summit, you can get a free professional headshot with some edits, and he's going to do that for you. And then he's also offering anybody that comes to the summit, you will receive a 25% discount on a photo shoot.
Any service.
Any service. You cannot beat that. And I'm telling you, flyers are so important. I don't want to see any selfies on pictures. I'm not judging. Do what you do. However, you don't have to do that if you come to the summit. If you come to the summit, you will have free professional headshots that you can use. And I got to tell you a little bit about our background. Our relationship, and then I'll let Emmanuel, we're going to talk to you for some time. But I want to tell you, I have met Emmanuel at a conference that I was going to support my friend Rita. Shout out to Rita, who is a dear friend of mine. She was hosting. She was at a summit that she invited me to. And anybody that knows me, like that, people don't believe this, and I'm gonna say this, and I've said it here before, and I don't want out in my comments that I am naturally a shy person. Nobody, I am.
Sorry,
People don't believe it. Yes, I'm gonna put you on mute, Ana. People don't believe. People don't believe that I am naturally a shy person. I am the person that will go into a crowded place or whatever the case may be, sit in the back and don't want to be bothered. Like I am there strictly for support. So as I'm leaving, I go over to see Rita, and I'm leaving, and I hear them make an announcement. Emmanuel, as I was in the group, they split up the men and the women, and I was in a group as a youth conference. And I go, and I'm like, I'm going to go say bye to Rita, and I'm leaving. I heard them clearly say, anybody that comes, you get a free headshot. And I'm like, I'm not doing a headshot. I had on a shirt from it's called Sight and Sound.
Sight and Sound. Jonah.
Listen, and I'm going to be very transparent. The reason why I threw that shirt on because I really didn't know what to wear, and I didn't really feel like getting myself together. So I'm like, this is a church shirt. I can wear it to a church. It was Jonah, the whale.
Look at
that. So,
Jonah the whale.
So I was like, I can wear this to church. It's a church shirt. I can wear this to church. So I go and I was like, I didn't want to take a picture. And as I'm leaving, Emmanuel stops me and says, like, come do your picture. And I'm like, no, I don't really want to. He's like, come get your picture. It's free. Long story short, I went. I went and did my headshots. That night I got the pictures. It was the best decision that I've made in a very long time. And now it's like I'm booking with him all the time because he is the hands down best photographer of life. So if you ever want to book with him, please make sure you do that. If you come to the summit, you'll get a discount to book with him, and you're going to also get free headshots for everybody. So wear your best so that you can make sure that you have banging headshots for any job, anything that you need the headshots for that you can post on social media. So Emmanuel, I thank you. I thank God for you being my brother. I thank God that he brought us together, even in my stubbornness, because as I may be shy, the other S word I am is stubborn, extreme. I know that about myself because I take time to self-reflect.
Me too. Me too. So I'm about as stubborn as it gets.
Right. I'm like, I don't want to do no pictures, but I'm so glad I did because what it has allowed me to do is to gain a new brother who is so professional, who is outstanding, magnificent, fantastic, and all of those adjectives.
Bro. I appreciate that.
So, Emmanuel, I am so happy that you're here with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Of course. I'm glad. I always say that everything happens by purpose. Yeah. And, there are photographers that are out there. Like, there are amazing, amazing, amazing photographers that are out there. And I think for me, what differentiates me is the experience behind. You don't just come into my studio just to take a picture. There's a lot of photographers that take amazing pictures. But I simply just live by my motto of capture, empower, and motivate. And so as the first question that I asked when you guys were done is what did you guys feel after after me doing your photography? And you guys have been in front of photographers. You guys have done this, and so it was about what did you feel after the fact? Did you feel the experience? Were you empowered? Were you motivated to be your best self moving forward? And so, that is what the differentiating factor is with me, is that, I believe with wholeheartedly that my gift from God is my ability to be able to deal with and connect with people. And so there are photographers that you may get a better shot than me. But I can guarantee it, you're always going to come back to me because of the way that I make you feel. And so that's for me, is the most important piece. Like you said, I do photography. I love what I do, and like I said, it gave me an opportunity to meet you. Yeah. And just as much as I've affected him and him meeting me, it's been vice versa. I put it like this, meeting him is catapulted my firm to the next level. And so I thank God for you being in the proper space and you being obedient enough to when I came outside. He didn't tell you that he was outside. Yeah, I was downstairs in the basement. I came outside and said, it was, again, everything happens by purpose. And so I went outside to get him, and that's my bro. We talk regularly. If we don't talk regularly, we'll just send our texts out to say, listen, what's going on? How how are you? So yeah, I'm grateful.
Yeah, I think one of the things that that you said, and Ana can definitely attest to this, that it was definitely an experience. Like Ana, like I think that Ana and I shot with him. We did our shoot together to prepare for the show. As we were getting ready to promote A Human Being. It was just a phenomenal experience. Ana, what you want to share with that?
Yes. Coming to your location alone was an experience because of the originality of the building, and being able to go to your suite and just seeing that you have everything needed for a photo shoot. It was set up so nice and organized, and he's just talking to us while he's setting everything up, while we're getting ready, and like, okay, we're ready, let's go. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Let's just jump into it. And I'm not a regular picture. I don't know what you're supposed to call it, like the tall picture. I'm a selfie girl. That's what I mean. So me being in front of a camera is a little intimidating. Surprisingly,
it is very much so.
It can be. I don't know how my face looks. I don't know how my hand is or my which way I should turn. I'm not that girl. But coming to your shoot, you giving direction, just being able to see myself. There was a TV right there, guys. When you took the picture, you were able to preview and see exactly what is going on. I love that more than anything.
I knew that was what Ana was going to bring up. I knew that was. You got this big screen in here to be able to see this. Yeah, so I think what people don't realize is you got a lot of people that take selfies, and what I always tell people, and I said, you'll be nervous for 75% of the shoot. Yeah. And when it's almost over, that's when you'll be ready to really shoot. But it'll be over, right? And so
I promise that's exactly what
it happens. It happens every single time.
Like as soon as we about to be done, I'm like, I'm ready for more. Are we done? It's over. Let me change my clothes. We can do it again. But a great experience. I will be booking with you again, and I'm excited to get shots as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I'm excited for those. I think people really, really, really don't understand. Like, I'm not coming to just take your picture. I'm going to retouch the photo. I'm going to. It's when you get your headshot, it's going to be something that you can be able to just plug and play. Like I need it to be used, and I always love seeing when people are using their photos correctly. Dwayne, you use your photos with everything now.
I sure do.
Now to see that you're you're doing a book, and I'm the photographer that did the book. A friend of mine last week, I just did her shoot last week, and I didn't know she was coming out with a book. I get this prayer journal, and guess whose photos is all over the prayer journal, and so it's on Amazon. So I went and clicked. I said, wait a minute, this is getting amazing. And so to utilize your photos correctly, and I don't think people really understand the importance of a headshot and how it legitimately in 2025 can set the tone of your next level, right? And people don't want to see selfies. You have companies that are going to social media now to find out who you are. And so if you're sending me a photo that looks crazy, you got a photo that looks crazy as your profile picture. You need professional ones on LinkedIn. This is the photo that you're going to get with me, something that you can use. And so, like I said, come ready to take a photo. Don't come ready to take a photo, like a legitimate photo to be able to use. I'm excited for it. And like I said, I had to, because it's Dwayne, I had to do something to make sure that people left with something tangible from my brand. That's where you got the 25% off discount. And who knows what God says. I said 25% at this last event that I was at, and it ended up being 50. And so just be there. And so I don't know what God is going to say. It could be 50% off. I just don't know. I'm excited though. I'm excited. I was a little bit nervous to go after Leanne. She got me excited. I just want to meet her because I believe wholeheartedly that's a connection that's going to again be a Dwayne like connection, right? And I believe that, and I feel it. And so yeah, I speak. You know, you might catch a video from me. I don't just do photography. I speak, and I motivational speak. I'm always trying to legitimately just empower and motivate people to be the best version of themselves, because I come from such a tough background myself, and God brought me out.
Yeah. I think what's important too, like I feel like your testimony is through the name of your company.
Yeah.
Visions. Can you explain that to those that are watching? Like, what is the meaning of the name? What inspired the name?
Sure.
Yeah, just tell them a little bit about that.
Sure. So my name, as you can see, the Kim, is Khalif Emmanuel Magruder. My daughter is also Kim, Kamari Izori Magruder. And so I've always tried to do things around my name, because I understand that the name means something, right? And my name is a powerful name in general. And it means king, overseer, then it means God is with us, and for my middle name. And so it means powerful. It means something powerful. And so I always knew that I was meant to do great things, right? And so, but I come from a pretty tough background. My mom, you know, when I was growing up, I've been in the foster care system for a little bit. Come from my parents were on drug addicted for the first 20 years of my life. But I got out. I always tell people I beat the streets. And so when I originally started motivational speaking, it was coming from that perspective to show kids that, and young people, that no matter what it is, your situation and circumstance, you don't become a product of circumstance, but you become an overcomer of circumstance. And so I started an organization called Kingdom Empowered Minds, but with a couple other people, but I didn't really do anything with it. And so a friend of mine, I got into photography about 7 years ago. And a friend of mine, I wasn't doing it for business. I was doing it because all the companies were coming after my daughter on social media to get her to do different like ads and stuff like that. And I finally took her to one director, and they told me I had to pay $600 for headshots. And at the time I didn't understand. So I bought my first camera. And I would post a little bit, and a friend of mine who's a huge photographer kept DMing me like, listen, you have an eye for this, you need to get into this business. And I kind of like blew him off. And he would reach back out to me, you need to get into this business, I'm serious, I wouldn't just be telling you this is what you're supposed to do. Blew him off. And finally he asked me if I did have a business name, and what would it be? And I came up with Kim Visions because of my name. I didn't have a model yet, but he created my logo. He sent me contracts. He said, I believe in you. He said, somebody like you belongs in this business. And it was the greatest thing that I've done, because I didn't realize that I was missing something that I would love so very much. And I love what I do, because it not only gave me an opportunity to be able to take pictures, but it gave me an opportunity to get in front of people and to be able to impact people from an intimate space. And I'm just a people person. You know, and so I began to try to figure out what could I put as my motto that resonates with who I am. And so I capture the photo. I empower you to be better. And I motivate you to be the best version of yourself. And so that's where capture, empower, motivate. I know capture is normally with a C, but in my world it's a K. Mm-hmm. And so in the vision, everybody should have a vision. The question is, what are you doing with the vision and what you have? And so my vision is to be the luxury brand of photography, but to also be able to go into spaces with individuals like Dwayne and be able to speak on platforms to help people to see, no matter where it is that you came from, it's about where you're going and where God is taking you. And so, that's Kim Visions. Kim Visions was birthed out of of being stubborn. I tell you that much. It was birthed out of being very, very stubborn. But I needed to use something to that match my name. And so, and I think it matches perfectly. And now, I'll tell you quickly, Dwayne, my daughter started shooting.
I love that. So I gotta say, Emmanuel's daughter is so amazing. I went on how old is she not? She's
She's
nine.
9.
Nine.
She's
Yes.
9. Yeah.
I was at a shoot that I went to, and she was there. I met her. She's phenomenal. The personality is everything.
Yes.
And while we were there, she was pretty much helping style me.
Yes.
Very
much.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And then while I was also there, I got an opportunity to see her shoot. Not shoot the camera, but in front of the camera. Emmanuel was shooting her. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you, it was so amazing to watch because she was hitting the mark. She knew. And it was just such a dynamic thing. And so it only makes sense to know that at 9 years old, well, before then, that she was being booked for these different things. But at 9 years old, she has an eye to be able to see what wardrobe should look like. And the things that she was saying to me was so on point. I don't think I've ever listened to a child in that capacity. It was so on point to watch her. And then to go from watching her say, like, I think you should wear this, put this together, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And if you know anything about me, you know I don't care about fashion. I care nothing about it. But to watch her in that capacity and then go into watch her in front of the camera, it only makes sense to see now that she's behind the camera because she definitely has an eye.
I did not see. Let me tell you something. I took her to, and I'll be quick. I took her to an event with me for Christmas. My team has a big Christmas thing that we did in Baltimore. So I took her and I took my wife. And so she's like, Dad, let me borrow the camera. And these are not small time photographers that are here. These are like big time photographers that are here. So she gets in front of the cameras and she's telling this model what to do and how to pose. Mind you, this model is hands down one of the best that I know in terms of hand placements and everything like that. She's amazing. So I'm telling my daughter, I look at her, I said, you don't have to tell her what to do. She knows what she needs to do. And my daughter looked back at me and was like, just let me handle it, Dad. She said, let me just handle it, right? And so she's telling her what to do. But then my friends I'm talking about, charge $20,000 to shoot a wedding. These type of photographers were in there, right? And so they're in there and they like, this little girl, she's creative directing so flawlessly. And then they seen her and then they was like, she has an eye to do this because she was getting angles and everything like that. So she got mad because I wouldn't give her my camera. And so now I seen the album after the fact. I went into the album after the fact, after I loaded them, and I'm gonna send you the link, Dwayne.
Yes.
I was like, she ended up shooting me, she ended up shooting her mom, and the photos were absolutely flawless. And I said, oh goodness. And so now Kim times 2.
I know she's phenomenal. She's phenomenal. And like I said, it only makes sense that she's doing it. Everybody, you can definitely see Emmanuel Magruder at the summit, the Are You OK Summit on February 1st, 2025 in the East Falls section of Philadelphia at the Greatness Center, where we will be hosting this summit for all to come out, and he'll be talking about business and mental health and encouraging you all to follow your dreams. I think what will you say has been your biggest inspiration for following your dreams?
Honestly, it's my wife and daughter, and just finally figuring out something that I love to do. But it also allows me to continually be able to build and help build people. Again, I told you I legitimately believe that that's one thing that nobody can teach me is people. And so, and that's my gift. That's a gift that I have from God to be able to connect with people more than anything.
I love that. Ana, is there anything that you want to add to this conversation or share before we let Emmanuel go?
I just want to, again, thank you for my experience, and, just the conversation alone made me relax and just be ready for the shoot. So I really want you guys to register. Make sure that you come check Emmanuel out. All of our great guests we have on the panel for the Are You OK Summit, February 1st.
I'm glad I'm in the build. I'm glad I'm in the building just listening to some of these individuals speak. I'll just say from a speaker perspective, I'm excited to hear them I'm excited that I get an opportunity to be in the building because, I believe that God always knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows exactly who to put around you. And so I'm excited to meet you guys. I'm looking forward to it. And
Yeah,
Dwayne,
we are.
I appreciate you, my guy.
I appreciate
You
you.
already know when you come back.
Yeah, listen, we appreciate you as well, and we thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we are just excited about what you're coming to do at the summit. You're doing the headshots free for every single person that comes, and then also to offer the 25% off for those who will be attending. So, Emmanuel, my brother, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we can't wait to see you at the summit.
I'll talk to y'all soon. Be blessed on purpose.
All right, you too. Thank you. Ana, it just gets better and better. Like
we're better.
Right? It just gets better and better. I'm so excited.
What do y'all think? Are y'all enjoying the 2-hour mid-season finale tonight?
No, like I can't believe I'm watching the clock and I'm watching the time and I'm like, it's about to be a wrap. And for a little
First of
while,
all, the first hour flew by like
I know. It was so much real now. If you're just joining us, you have to go back and watch the beginning because there's so much that you missed. If you're just joining us, there's a lot of announcements, a lot of things happening. I just tell you missed a lot. So go back and watch the beginning of the show. But I'm so excited and I'm grateful that for everybody that has joined us tonight. I am so excited for our next guest, Anitra Green, who is going to join us, who is going to actually be doing a grief workshop at the summit. And one of the things that I just know to be true is that there's so many levels of grief. There's so many ways that people are grieving. And I just think that this is such an important topic. I think a lot of times what we associate grief with is death, but it is like of a person that, but I think it's important that we are able to see grief in many formalities tonight. But I'm really, really grateful. I see that Instagram is holding out for us tonight. I guess we say it every time. Like I guess they're going to be here with us. I think just a few announcements before we bring Anitra on. You can register for the Are You OK Summit. We have making sure you can register at DwayneBundrake.com/events. If you haven't registered, please make sure that you go and register. Shout out to Sophie. Thank you for sharing that. But you can definitely go and register for the summit. We still have space available. It is $75, y'all. It's $75. That includes food. That includes all of the speakers. That includes some material that you will be able to take home with you. We have gift bags that you will be able to have as well. So thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate you. There's been many, many nuggets dropped. We may go over a little bit tonight because I want to leave space and time for my sister. And there's so much that I can say about Anitra. She's an author. She's a wife. She's a mother. She is thebomb.com. She is I've self-appointed. I don't know if other people call her this, but Anitra is the resource queen.
Is she?
She is and she quit with it. It's one of those things to where it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, if you need something, you know how like when you need help or something from someone and you think like, oh, they're going to support you, they're going to need your help. And it's like, okay, they may get back to you in like a few days or so. Anitra responds so quick that if my response to her when she reaches out to me is delayed, I have to apologize. Because she is so quick.
I love that for you, Anitra.
I love it. And it's just like she has the connections. I mean, she was a driving force by some of the guests that joined us for the very first time we did the Are You OK? Some of the guests that have joined us on the show, she is responsible for. She is just the resource queen. Whatever's higher than the queen, she is that as well. Like she is the person that if you need something, she knows someone, and it is just so great to have someone like that. And it's not because of what she can do; it's just because of who she is. That I just really love and adore her, and I just think that she is just a phenomenal person. And the book that she released, oh my gosh,
where's her book? Where's the book?
I'm gonna let her tell you about it.
Where is she? Bring her on.
But Anita's gonna come on. I talked about this book. I talked about this book on I forget what episode. Oh, it was one of the things when I went. I talked about what I did on the weekend when we did our weekend recap, and I went to Anitra's book signing. and it was just a phenomenal
Okay.
experience.
Yes.
So I want to let her talk about that a little bit, and then we are going to get in the conversation about grief. I know that Sophie just said, "Let us see your sweatshirt and hoodie." Listen, hoodies and sweatshirts. You can see it's the A Human Being sweatshirt.
I love Sophie so much.
Right, driven, vital, and whole. And so I can so relate to what Emmanuel was saying, because like with his initials are KEM. Yep. And that's what he's talking about with his, but most people don't know this, or if you pay me a little bit of attention, you will know that driven, vital, and whole are my initials.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Dwayne Von Drake Wiggins. So driven, vital, and whole.
Von Drake.
The camera's back. Yeah, Dwayne. I'm backwards here. I don't know how to really point.
It's fine. They can see it. Y'all see it. Okay.
But we have we are pushing for hoodies and sweatshirts. If you would like to purchase, you absolutely can. It's on my Facebook, it's on my Instagram, it's in my stories. For a limited time, we only doing a 1 week sale on these hoodies and sweatshirts, and I think we have 10 different colors. So you can absolutely go on and purchase those if you desire to. We would love to have you. After that, I think I'm going to be done for the year for that. So please make sure that if you want that, then you make sure you go and get that. But back to Anitra. I am so excited to have her in. I'm going to give her the platform and the floor to talk about what she wants. But we are talking about grief with Anitra. So get your pen, paper. Please make sure that you are sharing this video with everybody because this is a very serious topic when we're talking about mental health and well-being. And as Gary put it tonight, mental wellness. That is our conversation, and that is our focus tonight. And we must talk about grief in that, because a lot of times it's the grief that gets us off course. So Anitra, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hi.
Good evening. I was cracking up laughing because the funny thing is that I call myself the resource queen, literally.
Because you are.
What?
Right. You are.
But I will say, I think the only person that's faster than me is Siri. She has me beat.
Anitra will respond to you. I'm telling you, she is the bomb, and I'm just so grateful. So, Anitra, thank you and welcome to A Human Being tonight. I am so grateful to have you here.
Yes. I'm so happy to be here tonight. I've been enjoying it from the first minute that you started, and I'm honored to be a part. I feel like our connection was truly divine. I want to thank Miss Patrice Todd for the connection, because that's my sister, and Michelle Primo, Reverend Michelle, is my classmate. Good people. So I'm really happy about the connection, and Ana, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. Likewise. You're doing a great job with your show, and I'm just happy to be here talking about one of my favorite subjects, grief and loss.
Yes. So Anitra, before we dive into, because I want us to be able to do some work and be able to spend a little time, are you okay with us going over a little bit? Our show was supposed to end at 10, but we got a little bit of time, because guess what? I'm on a 2-hour delay tomorrow for work.
So am I.
So I got nothing but time tonight.
I sure am. I'm on a 2-hour delay as well.
Yeah, so I got that message. Yes, I will be well rested. I got that 2-hour delay message, and I'm like, let's kick this week off like this. Before we dive in to do the work and talk about grief, I want you to tell everybody about your book, and tell them where they can purchase it, all of those great things before we do that. And then we'll make sure that we put that information on our website as well to promote your book. So just tell them a little bit about your book and what it's about.
Sure. So The Day Grandpa's Music Stopped is a book written about 2 children. And because I've spent 20 years in school social work, this year was year 20. Of course, the backdrop of my book is about a children's story. And they are leaving school, and they are picked up by their parents and told about their grandfather dying. The book is written really with the intention of educating parents, teachers, counselors, anyone who works with grieving children. It's a simple way to have a conversation about death, because we tend to hide that conversation from younger children. And my goal is to provide a resource, as I mentioned. I'm a social worker, but I wanted to put my work in another format. And particularly post-COVID, there's a lot of grief happening, a lot of people lost relatives. So, of course, the topic is The Day Grandpa's Music Stopped, but you can take grandpop out and substitute it for any loss that a child has had. And, of course, I always have my book close by, so this is what it looks like.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah,
and you can find it, you can find the book on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and I am also doing a tour. So hopefully I'll be coming to an area near you. I will be in Philadelphia February, and I'll be in Dover March. So I'm excited. Again, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and please share. This book is for everybody. You don't have to have a person passing away, or maybe your child has not experienced death, but you should educate them so that you are not dealing with it in the moment.
Yeah. I love how you shared when I remember being at the book signing and how you shared in the conversations that we need to have, the important ways to have conversation with kids when someone passes away. I've personally witnessed people say, grandma or grandpa, whatever, has went to sleep. And it's just like, and as you said, I remember in the conversation that you were saying, like sometimes when we say that kind of thing, then it could penetrate in a child's mind that, well, I'm never going to sleep. Like, I don't want to go to sleep because of the fear of children saying like, because grandpa or grandma went to sleep and they're never coming back. And when we have those kind of conversations with our children, it may provoke another fear. They're already dealing with the loss of a loved one, but then it provokes another fear that, well, I don't want to go to sleep because if they didn't come back, that may mean I don't come back. So I thank you for sharing that perspective when we were at the book signing, and it was a phenomenal experience that day. So I want to dive in to talk about grief and loss, and I want you to start wherever you need to start. And then I want you to take us on this journey so that people can have a clear understanding. Because what my hope is tonight, and we're not going to dig too deep, because if they want to learn more about it, they need to sign up and register and come to the summit on February 1st.
Absolutely.
So we're not going to get too deep tonight, but we're going to get a little deep. And if you want some more, you make sure you visit DwayneVonDrake.com/events and you register for the summit. So Anitra, over to you. You take us and lead us.
Yeah, the first thing I want to say about grief and loss is that it is a natural response. Grief is a natural response to loss. And one of the messages that I've been being intentional about in this season, as we're seeing so many different types of losses, is that grief is not just about death. A lot of my work in grief and loss has been around bereavement. And of course, when you have a physical death, it is one of the more complicated and complex grief journeys to be on. But grief is so much more than death. And so when you think about loss, we're watching the California wildfires and we're seeing people lose their properties. And the one thing that people don't realize is that, yes, they are fortunate that they survived. And I'm sorry for those who did not. However, when you're talking about losing a property, it's not just a physical structure. It's the memories. It's the things, it's the kitchen that you remember your grandmother helping you to bake cookies in. It's all of the things that you cannot rebuild, the tangible things. So when we think about the wildfires, there's a lot of grief, not just those who have died, but the properties, the memories. When we think about the election today, there's a lot of people who are still having post-election grief because their idea of the American that they saw, this election is impacting people in different ways. It doesn't impact us all the same. And so there are people who are feeling a loss about their freedoms, about certain rights that they may be fearful about. So I just think that when we talk about grief and loss, it's so important. Loss of friendships, divorces, health diagnosis. And so it's important for us to broaden the lens, because I do think that when we hear grief, it's just death. And it's like, no, people are experiencing multiple grief journeys at the same time, which can make it very complex. So you might have a person who has had a death, but they also have lost their finances, and they also have lost their home, and they also have lost friendships, because these things are happening simultaneously, which gets into a conversation around bereavement overload. So I just really want to mention to people that sometimes we're grieving so many things and we're only focusing on one or two things, but we really are grieving a series of things. I think that's really important. If I could drive anything home tonight, is that grief is about so much more than death.
Yes. Oh, please drive that home. I think what you just said is that we're grieving a series of things. And sometimes what we look at may be a very thing. Like we see someone that died, be it just a natural death, killed themselves, car accident, or whatever the case may be. We look at that and we begin to grieve on that particular thing. But sometimes we don't get to what the foundation of the grief is, or what is causing us to really grieve. Because sometimes, as you said, I feel that it's more than just the loss. There's so many other things. But so let's start driving that. Let's start driving that.
So I've talked before about secondary losses. So I'm going to use a widow, for example. Someone loses a spouse, and let's start with the physical loss. In that, a person has lost if they were a homemaker, or even if they had two incomes. People's lives change because if you had a loss of a person, there's a financial loss. Perhaps there's also relationships. So for some people, when they have a physical loss, your social circle may be all married friends, all people that you met when you married your husband. And now when you're no longer married and you're single and you're widowed, people lose relationship with their in-laws. Some people stay connected, some people don't. So now you have, financial losses, physical losses, friendship losses, circle losses, change in your income status. Some people have to relocate and change their entire lifestyle, depending on how prepared the person was financially. And I've sat with widows. I've talked to widows who were very well taken care of and their lifestyle did not change. And then I've talked to widows who have had to shift and they're back home living with their children because things were the way that they were. So I just think that's just one example of when a person has a series of losses and how that shows up. And then the stress or other things that happen, emotional things that happen as a result of the loss. So when we're talking about mental wellness, my therapist friend, Gary, used that word. I think it's important to realize that with the grief and the loss comes a whole lot of other emotions, anxiety, stress. Obviously, we know about the depression, even feeling jealous. There's times where people are, like, hey, I seen somebody on the news. He's like, this person's house didn't burn down, and he had his philosophy about it. And he was like, I don't even really want to talk about it. So there's times where people don't want to admit that they're feeling a little envious of the fact that certain things have happened to them. And it's not that you wish this on other people, but it's just like, why me? Why now? Why is that not my story? And I think it's human nature to feel jealous at any point about a variety of things. Of course, we know we don't want to walk around carrying envy, but I do think that jealousy, feeling envious of something that someone else still has that you don't, is a human feeling. And it's okay to say that. I think people feel like they don't want to admit that, but it's a real human emotion. Yeah. That can be connected to grief that we really don't talk about.
Yeah. I think that one of the things too, I go back to something that Leanne said earlier, is really accepting where you are. Yeah. And I think that a lot of times we don't want to accept what we feel like. If we're feeling envious, and I'm not saying that you got to make a Facebook status about it, or you got to, right, really promote that I feel, but just being real and authentic within yourself, because I think that that's the most important person that you have to be real with, is yourself, with Absolutely. How you're feeling. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the importance of being real with yourself and being able to identify the feelings that you may be feeling when it comes to grief.
Yes. And one of the things that I talk about a lot is, when going back to the physical grief, I think that that's an area that most people are open about grieving. Mm-hmm. Hey, I've had a death. That's the loss that gets acknowledged primarily as a grief journey. When you say I've lost a friend of 25 years, people don't come up to you and say, oh, I'm so sorry. How are you feeling about your grief? You lost a friend, right? Because that Absolutely. Is a grief journey. People don't really say, oh, you lost your job. How are you feeling about your financial changes? But when you had a physical death, that's where the attention seems to lie. But the important thing for us is to be honest about the fact that we're not okay. And that's why I love the Are You Okay Summit, because normally when we ask people, are they okay? The natural response is yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How you doing? I'm all right. How's it going? I'm maintaining, even thinking about people that have had a divorce. People don't really understand that they are on a grief journey and they need to be asked, checked on. It's devastating. It's a form of a loss.
And I'm willing to say it. I'm willing to say this. And if you don't agree with this, y'all can comment. And I'm open to conversations about this. I'm willing to almost say that I don't care how bad the divorce was. Mm-hmm. It's still a grief journey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is. Because when you take your marriage vows, and I can say that as a person who's been married for 7 years, that when you take your marriage vows, nobody gets married to end it. Right. That's never the end goal. Nobody stands at the altar and says, yeah, in about 3 years, I'm probably going to be single again. But let's get this show on the road. Right. When we're taking the vows, we're saying till death do us part, in sickness and in health. And in that moment, I believe the people that are doing it, most people genuinely mean that. Mm-hmm. So nobody really expects it, and it affects everyone. But going back to the feelings, when people ask us how we're doing, we have to learn how to be more honest with how we're doing. You know what? Today is a struggle. The holidays were rough. Thanks be to God, I'm managing. today was hard. We have to grow in that area, because our natural response is, oh, I'm good, I'm okay, right? And that just comes from us really not wanting to dig deep. Sometimes we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be transparent. We don't want to say how we're really doing.
Yeah.
But if we're not honest first with ourselves, and sometimes we tell ourselves that, oh, I'm good, I'm just going to have to keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't out hustle grief. I tell people that all the time. Grief
Yeah.
is going to find you, and it's going to say, hey, what's up? Where you been? I've been waiting for you, right? You've been moving and grooving. But at this point, you're going to have to be okay with it. And there is no remedy for grief. You have to allow yourself to grieve.
Yeah.
That's the solution. When people want to get over it and they want to move fast through the process, you have to give yourself time and space to grieve. And a lot of people are afraid of their grief. They don't know what's going to happen when they actually sit down and create the space for it. So we avoid it. We try to overwork. We try to stay busy. We try to tell ourselves we're okay. And I just want to discourage people from doing that. Understand that grief is the natural response to loss. It's natural. So when you're fighting the natural process, you're really not helping your healing. You're stunning your growth, and you're really fighting against the natural processes that God has put in us to go through a process when we avoid it. So we have to be honest, but it really starts with honesty with ourselves.
Yeah, I think someone just said, and this was like a ooh to me. That you just said you can't out hustle grief.
Yeah.
Someone said, ooh, that was a word. Yeah. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because what I often tell people, like especially when I'm dealing with the students in the school, is that I'm telling them that it's important to feel everything. Like, or even when I'm talking to, like, feel it, like go through the process, because there's so many stages to grief. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So the best example I can think of, and I've shared this with my own clients in my practice, that, when you hit your hand on something, right, your eyes water. And it's just a natural process. There's a natural process that God has put in us for when we're grieving. He's given us the ability to express ourselves. I'm going to start with tears. Tears are healing. But how many of us fight even allowing ourselves to just mourn?
Yeah.
Like to just have a moment to cry, right? We're fighting our tears. I'm not going to, right? We're fighting our healing. Give yourself permission to feel. Honor your feelings. The hustle part, I think that working has its place, right? And a lot of us like to be busy.
Yeah.
So we think that if we work overtime, go to every event that we're invited to, that we're going to avoid grief. But we're not avoiding it. We're delaying it, and we're complicating it, because again, you're putting yourself in a place where you're not allowing yourself to just naturally heal. I think it comes from us culturally. I can say really, particularly for people of color, we have just been we feel like we're innately born to just handle all hardships.
Yeah.
At some point, nobody asked us how we felt. We weren't treated like humans. Going back to at least our beginning in this country, we know that in the beginning we were kings and queens of Africa, but starting in American history, how we were treated here, we were not given the opportunity to express ourselves. And so I think that that's kind of traveled down in generations with us, and we haven't really learned how to be honest about how we're feeling. Now there's so many resources. We have so many different spaces and places to heal. There's no reason to suffer in silence anymore, but we have to take ourselves off of mute. I don't think we've learned how to do that yet, and just be honest, taking ourselves off of mute, being vulnerable, understanding that there is hope, that there is healing, that there's healing in when we're sharing. Gary said it earlier, a conversation, or you shared it, Dwayne. A lot happens when we talk. We don't even talk about grief. We're not talking to each other. We're not talking to our children. That's why I wrote the book. We think that our 4 and 5-year-olds, oh, grandpa, they're only 4 years old. Granddad only been in his life for 4 years. He ain't even going to remember. So we think, yes, they do.
Yes.
And they love, and they have connections, and they have all of these feelings. So then we don't include them in the conversations, and we just keep this cycle going. It starts with a conversation.
Yeah. We have some awesome people that are in the chat that are sharing some things. I see Patrice saying that this is an awesome conversation. Mr. is still here with us. Said, giving space to grieve gives space to begin our healing.
Yes,
Sophia shared that, and don't allow anyone to tell you how long to grieve.
Oh, yes.
That is
so important. There is no time limit on grief. Thank you for saying that, Sophia. That is one point that I always say. the truth is that the intensity of our grief tends to become lighter as time goes on. So the way that you may feel the first month after somebody dies may be different 10 years later. But the truth is that grief is forever. You never stop mourning. You never stop yearning. You never stop loving the person that died. Therefore, your grief does not end. Because if the grief ends, it means the love ends. And we know that the love doesn't end. Yeah. And that's why the hook for my book says that, for teaching children, although people die and their lives end, love and memories never do. And that's what connects the grief process to forever, because we will forever love these people. We respect them. They're unforgettable. And so how can you put a time limit on grief when there's no time limit on love? And so I think that there's a thought process that, after the first year or after the second year or after this timeline. And it's not true.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone who has contributed to this conversation. We have folks on Instagram, we have folks on YouTube, and also on Facebook. And I want to bring back up something that Patrice said and what you said tonight, Anitra. I think our upbringing and our culture has taught us not to show emotions. And LD Miller says, yes, grief is so tricky as it covers any loss.
Absolutely.
And she followed up with people don't think about grief attached to job loss, relationships, even your old self, or the loss of what could have been. That is something.
Yes, that is something. Loss of dreams is real. And that's why I'm particularly excited about the conference, because I'm going to be talking about different variations of grief and loss, because for too long, we've only thought about death. And that is a big part of our losses. It is definitely one of the more complex losses. However, people are grieving. It goes back to what we said earlier. People are grieving many, many things. The other thing that I wanted to mention while we're talking about grief is that I think that a lot of people understand the emotional, how grief manifests emotionally. We know about the emotions, the sadness, the tearfulness, the loneliness. But I don't think that enough conversation happens about the physical impact of grief. And grief can shut your body down.
Yes.
Grief can create health. It can amplify health challenges that a person may have, and even cause our bodies to do weird things, which is why we need to practice self-care and really understand, heart palpitations is real. People have had panic attacks. They've never had a panic attack before. And then they're on a grief process, and all of a sudden their anxiety is heightened. And it's the stress of the grief. That's what's making the grief affect your body, is the stress of grief. Grief is very stressful. And as I said before, I know when my father passed away unexpectedly, I had to plan a funeral. He was widowed. As the oldest child, I had to organize a whole event. So you're missing somebody and you're sitting here handling all of this business simultaneously. And it's only by the grace of God. And that's the part that people don't realize. Like, yes, the funeral homes do a certain amount, but you have to write the obituary. You have to pick the colors. You have to view the body, if that's how you're celebrating it. For some people, that's not a part of their ritual, but for ours, you have to make these phone calls because business has to be handled, and you have a timeline that you have to get it done. So, for many people, it's like all of this is going on. This is a lot. It's stressful.
Yeah.
Right. And you're carrying that, and you're also, experiencing this emotion. So people have to really understand that grief does affect your body. It's not just a mental experience, and you have to be mindful of that because the stress can really put you in a hard place health-wise if you're not mindful in doing, coping and doing what you need to do for yourself.
Yeah, I think about something you just said when you were talking about like the effects of it. I remember I remember when my sister passed away, Ashley, and Sophia was at my house. Sophia and Lori was at my house, and I'm sitting there writing the obituary for my sister, and I just burst out crying. It was like it was like disbelief. Like I could not believe that I was writing an obituary for my baby.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and not only that, the other part of that is when my mom sent me the dress that they had picked out for her to wear. That was another one. I'm like, I cannot believe this is my life right now. And it was just unbelievable. I see people sharing things in the comments. I thank you so much. I want to go back up. My mom shared something, and she was talking about, she said, lately Prince, who is my nephew, we call him PJ, has been asking someone to watch him until he goes to sleep. Any suggestions on that? Can you elaborate? I want to come back to that question Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Mom? What you mean by that? I also see Sophia added to the contributed to this conversation. She said, I lost my god sister Billy 20 years ago today. Wow, I'm so sorry. Today. And when I looked at the date, I fell apart like it was 2005. Grief and healing.
Yeah, those dates, listen. Dates can be triggering, birth dates, anniversaries, death dates. It's hard. And you feel it. You feel it at different times. And you feel it. I shared this before. When I did my book signing and I read the dedication, and my mother was there, and I'm fortunate and I'm blessed that I still have a mother who was here. But the book was dedicated to my dad. And when I read the book dedication, when I first did the dedication and mailed it to the publishing company, I thought, I can't believe that I actually have to dedicate this book to my father, that he's not actually going to be here. So even in celebrations, on my wedding day, when my uncle had to walk me down the aisle, me and my dad talked about that moment. And we had our ongoing jokes. And he's like, oh, you're so picky. I hope that I'm here because you're taking a long time because you're so picky. And you went. And I'm like, no, I just have standards and I'm going to wait. He knows me. I'm just going to wait till it's what I believe God has for me. But I got married. My dad died in 2013. I got married in 2017. We were 4 years apart. We were 4 years shy of him having that moment.
Wow.
It's hurtful. Right. So I chose to marry in June, and I chose to have my celebration in October to honor my father, who's June 4th, and then my grandmother, who was a Halloween baby. I had my celebration in October. So even how I set my celebrations and the times I did them were with people that I loved in mind. So when you have these high moments in life, when you finish that degree, when you get a promotion, when great things are happening in life, you still miss them because you want them there. Yeah. So it just doesn't. It's the dates. And then it's also when things are happening in your life that you're like, oh, I'm a new mom. Wow, my mom's not here to see this. She would have loved her grandchild. So as we're going through life, we're just really learning how to travel out throughout life, with these folks that we miss, specifically those who have passed on, and carrying them forward. So, in honor of my dad, now there's a book with his name in it, his death date in it, the day his music stopped. As I wrote it in the book, my daughter was 3 years old. And so we find ways to continue to make these people that we love proud and carry their legacy forward. But it's hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you that every time something great happens, thinking about all of the people, and I mean, the numbers have grown for me, all of the people that are not there, it makes my heart skip a beat. And often I cry about it. And then I get myself together and we continue, to grieve with hope. So that's my message. I have grieving with hope, but I'm always telling people grief is a journey. Take hope. We have to take hope.
I love that. I think Ana, were you about to say something?
No, I'm agreeing.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I have to do a shameless plug in my new book, Are You Okay? A mental health and well-being conversation. Yay! In chapter 10, I talk about the importance of vulnerability. And I want to talk about like the common misconceptions. I'm going to read them off. I'm not going to read the details of them. You'll have to get the book to read that. And or you can visit the summit on February 1st, Saturday, February 1st here in Nietzsche talking about that. Yes. But the common misconceptions, when it says there are several common misconceptions about vulnerability that can hinder our understanding and acceptance of it. Number one, vulnerability equals weakness. The common misconceptions. Vulnerability is only about sharing pain. Vulnerability means oversharing. Vulnerability is a one-time event. Being vulnerable will make you unprotected. Vulnerability is only for certain situations. You have to be completely vulnerable to be authentic. And vulnerability is a weakness in leadership. And so I felt like it was important to highlight some of the misconceptions of being vulnerable. But I also want to talk to you about, and then Alicia, I'm going to let you give you an opportunity to expound on this. But I want to talk about the power of vulnerability in mental health. And that's, or as Gary said, mental wellness, because this is what we're talking about. The power of vulnerability in mental health, it allows you to foster authentic connections with individuals. It reduces isolation. It encourages self-compassion. It promotes healing, and it empowers others. So what are your thoughts on the importance of vulnerability and how it can affect our mental health and when we are grieving?
I want to share, and I'm going to give the short version of a moment that I had to be vulnerable. And like you said, moments. It's so important for us to be honest and self-assess where we're at, so that we can share the truth about where we're at with other people who are trying to show up, because people can't guess what we need. It's up to us to really take the lead. My story with grief started before I became a therapist. Yes, I've studied and I have a license and I have private practice and all of that. But during the time that I was studying, I lost 3 people in 9 months. And so I was in, I would say, the toughest emotional space from grief that I've ever been in. Literally, I thought that I was having a nervous breakdown, because that's what it felt like. When you lose 3 people in 9 months and you have close relationships, 2 matriarchs, and then a nephew who was born. It's the darkest time that I can recall. This was 1999. But I'm going back to that because it's a moment that I had to be honest with myself and with other people. At the time, I had a full ride to Pittsburgh. And for most of us who are really driven and, you know, we have our timelines and we want to do things a certain way. Sometimes we don't want to be flexible and we don't want to bend because we have in mind that things are supposed to look a certain way. I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't focus. At the time, I didn't realize that grief affects your cognitive functioning. Like, you forget things. You can't concentrate. It's so unpredictable. And so I just wasn't prepared for what I was dealing with in terms of grief and how it was impacting my mental health, that I had to take a leave of absence. So when my professors were asking me, hey, we saw that you left and went home to a funeral twice. How are you doing? I had to make a decision in that moment to tell them that I was a mess. I'm not doing good at all. Yes, I'm here on a scholarship, but if I don't take a break from school, you're going to get work for me that's going to get me kicked out of here, because it's going to be substandard. And I can't really show up the way that I want to. And my pride told me, don't tell them this, right? You're here on a scholarship. They're going to think that you can't handle school. They're going to think that you're not fit for mental health. People are going to judge that. But in that moment, I knew that if I continue, because at the end of the day, nobody knows what we're going through.
That's right.
Second to God, only God is you.
Yeah.
I decided in that moment that if this was what God's plan was for me, that I was going to be honest, prayerful, vulnerable, and really say, obviously, I don't have anything to prove. I came here and you guys granted me this, but I need to take a break. And I took 4 months off from school. And that was a very challenging time, because a lot of times we don't want to admit that we need to take a break.
Absolutely.
It might be a break from work. It
Yep.
might be a break from whatever, because we feel weak. We feel like we have something to prove. We feel like the other students are going to, I had a roommate. I'm like, some of us, it's like, oh, well, are they going to think I don't have enough faith? Even with that, spiritually. It's time out for all of that. You have to be honest with yourself, because only you know what you're going through. Now, fortunately, from my honesty, from my transparency, from me sitting down with my professors and saying, I need a break. I can't really tell you what's going on. All I can tell you is 3 people passed away. I'm not myself, and I can't produce half of the quality of the work that I'm capable of in this moment. It took a lot to admit that. It took a lot to ask for help. But what happened was, because I put myself first and I prioritized my mental health and my self-care, I came back, I finished strong, and I began to understand that that's how you prioritize yourself. Because when we lie to ourselves and we lie to other people, it doesn't come to a good end.
Yeah.
Right. And I encourage clients. So I like to share that personal story, because sometimes we just need to learn how to let go and let God. And I'm saying that from a real place, because the truth is, nothing's going to stop God's plan for your life. If you got to take a month off from work or 2 weeks off because you know that you can't do your job well, take it.
Absolutely.
Ask somebody to write you a bereavement note. Take FMLA time. We don't have to prove anything to anybody. What we need to do is prove to ourselves that we think we're worth it.
Yeah.
Take the break. Prioritize our own mental health so that we can show up in the world for our children or whomever it is that we want to show up for, in boldness and authenticity, because that doesn't help anybody. And it took a lot. And I mean, I fought with myself for a while, and I finally had to say, girlfriend, if you don't do this, you're not going to be nobody's therapist, and you're going to be somewhere trying to figure out what's going on with you, and perhaps not finishing the degree at all, because they're going to kick you out if you give them this substandard work.
Yeah.
So it's a tug of war, but in the end, Listen to the still small voice and listen to your body.
Yes, because your body would definitely tell you when
Your mind will tell you you need a break.
Yeah.
Your body will tell you need a break.
And don't care what anybody has to say about it, because the truth of the matter, when I think about work, I think about like people in work. The truth of the matter is that if you start to lose your mind at work, or you start to give substantial, they're going to either fire you or they're going to write you up. And the truth of the matter is, if they get rid of you or you, they're just going to bring somebody else in to do the job. Before you can actually leave, somebody's going to come in and do the work. So I am a big advocate of making sure you take a break. I use my PTO when I need to.
Okay.
And people can say whatever they want to say, but it's important that you do what's best for yourself, because one, people are going to do what's best for them. And in the organization, they're just going to find somebody else to do the job. If you were to drop dead today, they're going to find somebody else that can do the job. Yeah, so
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So I just wanted to share my own personal story, because there's people who are watching this and they need a break, and they've been fighting with themselves because they're grieving, like I said, multiple things. Never really took the time to, take a break. It's okay to take a break. Yeah. Your mission will still be accomplished. And I tell people, I took time off and here I am. I still finished. I still became a therapist. Everything that God told me was going to happen, but I really had to be honest about my unraveling and what I needed to do for myself in order to have a better future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Anitra, I just want to say thank you so much for
sharing. Thank you for having me.
No, listen, it's such an honor to have you here. Ana, before we leave, I want to see if you wanted to share anything. You're on mute. I know because you were calling and you were like trying to be respectful of it. I love it.
Yes. But no, thank you for all of this information. There was definitely a lot of notes that I took down that just definitely stuck out to me with finishing up what you both just said, just taking the break. I am definitely one of those people that always have put work first, unfortunately, in the sense of like family and like just taking time for myself. I have to sacrifice to work nights because he works mornings, or my job is just demanding, so I get mandated. I have to stay. You know what I mean? These things are expected. I know what I signed up for, but I never take the time to reset or to give myself that break from that place that makes the money to pay the bills. I take pride in my job, and I'm very passionate about my job. I'm an administrative assistant, and this company was my first opportunity to step into that role. So I've learned a lot. I've been able to see a little bit of HR, payroll, a lot of different things, but I allow work to come home with me sometimes. So thank you very much for a lot of this information. I will be making use of this, and it just makes me excited for the Are You Okay Summit on February 3rd.
Listen, I'm telling you, I'm excited as well. I know Anitra's going to bring so much more insightful things in her segment of grief, and I'm really excited. You guys, make sure you register. You do not want to miss this summit. We just have a few more days. Like it'll be here before you know it. Like we 12 days away.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be there. I can't wait.
So, Anitra, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we will see you again soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Take care.
Listen, I am such a huge fan of Anitra. Like, she is just phenomenal.
I'm going to be crying. I said, I'm not, listen, okay? Seriously, because I never even thought of that. Like grieving is really all different types of categories. This is crazy.
Yeah, I think that one of the things I go back to my vision board and what I've been intentional about in the middle of last year, but in going into this year for sure, are boundaries. Making sure that you are setting boundaries. And one of the things that I've been very intentional about is not bringing work home. If I come home and do work from work, like it's because I want to, but I've definitely been focusing on myself and making sure that my household is okay, because it's easy to get caught up in doing all the things for work and making your household and I refuse to do that ever again in life, because what I realized is that although I was coming home to do work, when I returned back to work, it still wasn't enough. Like it was never good enough. It was never enough. Yes. And I'm just like, I'm not doing that because it's not happening. Yep. Bottom line. Bottom line.
Yep.
So I'm so grateful for all of our guests tonight who have joined us. Oh, what a full night. I'm so grateful that Ana, you've been on this journey with me in season 2, and we've had some amazing shows. I can't wait for us to come back after our break and all of the things that's going to be happening. I share some amazing things with you tonight. So I pray that you all continue to support what we do here in this space. We're figuring it out as we go along, but what makes the show great are all of you who comment and watch along with us, be it 2, be it 30, whoever. We thank you so much for all of you who continue to support us on this journey. So Ana, I'm going to turn it over to you and see if is there anything else you want to say tonight?
I'm always thanking y'all. Like, what? I'm always thanking y'all, but thank you for your time, for just listening to us, for tuning in, for joining in on the comments today. Y'all were some superstars.
Right? Exactly.
Just bringing up those topics. I'm super excited. We're about to take a break, but during that break, we will have the summit. So I'm just looking forward to revamping and coming back with more episodes and just seeing what more great topics we have to discuss with our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful viewers.
Thank you all so much. I just want to send you out a few reminders tonight, and just again, thank you so much to all of you who commented and were a part of the show. That we have the summit coming up on February 1st. We will be posted. If you know someone that wants to come and be a part, please reach out. Like, we want to come. There's going to also be tomorrow a place where you can donate to support the summit. We have a lot of things that we want to do, and any donation that you want to give us to support us in the next 12 days, in the next 10 days, I guess, that we will greatly appreciate. That I know that people have reached out, people have been giving because they haven't been able to, they won't be able to attend or able to come. But we will have a donation link out there so that you can donate whatever you want to donate, be it $5, be it $500, be it $5,000, whatever you want to donate, because this is our first summit, but this is the work that we're going to continue to do. We have many announcements that are going to come out coming soon with this summit. The next summit that we will be hosting will more than likely be in May, I believe. We're trying to solidify the date, but that Are You Okay Summit will 100% be focused on kids and youth and young adults. So we want to invite the kids to come out and be a part of it, and we want it to be free for them. So we need all the funds to support that. So if you can, like, we're starting out with the funds that we're getting are registration funds coming out of my pocket, and some of the donations that have been given, but we need the funds to support what we're doing. So we're going to make sure that you can do that. So just look out for the donation link that will be coming out soon, so that you can donate to this cause, because we want to make sure that we're checking in with our youth and making sure that they have an opportunity to have conversations, and our adults as well. Don't forget, if you want to do your hoodies and sweatshirts for 1 week only, you can purchase your hoodies and sweatshirts, and they'll be available for you very, very soon after that. So please make sure that you do that. And we want to thank all of our guests for coming out tonight. I got an announcement that I didn't make. I was just recently selected to speak and present at a conference in April that I'm really excited about. It's the conference that I've been speaking to called the Boost Conference. So I will be in Palm Springs, California in April, at the end of April.
Yeah.
No, at the end of April, going into May. So I will keep you posted on that. It's an awesome conference. There's like over 4,000 people who attend, and I'm excited to be able to speak. And my topic is understanding your why. And so I'm really excited to help people discover their why and their way. And so I'm excited about this. So I just got that notification on Sunday, and I was just so thrilled that they invited me to come back. And so I'm happy about that. So the doors are open and the things are happening. And we are excited about that. So thank you so much. Thank you. But we're going to continue to check in. I don't have any profound anything to say tonight, but thank you. Yes. Thank you so much for this journey with us, and continue to support us, and just pray for us as we go forth to do this. When we take our break, we're going to be working on even better shows, even more exciting shows for you as we return. So after the video, after we close out, you will see the return date, and then we'll be promoting to let you know when we will return. So thank you so much.
To everybody.
Thank you so much. And I can't tell you how excited we are for all of you that are joining us and continue to just support us. So thank you so much again. All right.
Yes.
On behalf of my co-host Ana Henderson and myself, we thank you for joining us, and thank you Instagram for holding it out with us tonight.
Yes, Instagram, I'm scared of you. What?
I know. I thank you, Instagram, and to all of you on Facebook and YouTube. We even got new followers on YouTube tonight. Thank you so much for watching us, and I hope something tonight was said or done that really encouraged your heart. But we will be coming back soon. So again, thank you so much, and until next time, take care of yourself.
Take care.
Bye.